the best movesets.
Tonight was the return of John Cena and Cody Rhodes to SmackDown. We have not seen John Cena on this show in many, many weeks. I don't even remember the last time, honestly, before tonight that we had a John Cena appearance here on SmackDown. And Cody Rhodes has not been seen on SmackDown since WrestleMania 41, whatever that last SmackDown was. So it's been a while, but both men were on Saturday night's main event this past weekend to set up the big tag team match for Money in the Bank next weekend, which is going to have John Cena and Logan Paul as tag team partners taking on Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. And all four men were in the closing segment here on this show tonight in a building that they said was sold out and looked packed and had over 14,600 people. But for large chunks of this show and many of the matches on this show, you may well have had 2,000. You could have lied to me and said there were 2,500 people in the building, and I would have believed it. But they came alive for that closing segment, those last 25 minutes or so. They were yeeting, and they were singing Cody's name, and they were cheering for John Cena when he came out, and they were booing Logan Paul, who, if he does nothing else, the man knows how to get heat. And they even teased at the very end of the show, there's a little tease of some dissension between Cena and Logan, which we'll get into when we get to that part of the segment. It's very interesting because when Cena's name was brought up, you could hear cheers from the crowd tonight. And even when he came out, it's a mixed reaction, but there were a lot of favorable cheers and responses from the crowd. And it's clear to see what they're doing here, which is that they are taking the most hated man, or one of the most hated men in WWE, in Logan Paul, and they're associating him. They're tying him in with John Cena to ensure that in Cody's big comeback match, the reaction is exactly what they want it to be. Which is not to say that they have no faith whatsoever in Cody coming back, that the crowds are not going to be on his side or anything like that. But we started, as we got closer to WrestleMania, for the first time in his entire title run, to hear crowds turning against Cody. Even though he still had most of them, there was still that undercurrent that just wasn't there before the whole John Cena storyline. And so it feels to me like this match, more than anything, is being done to protect against that and ensure that Cody gets the reaction that they want him to get in his first match back going into Money in the Bank, which is actually a pretty clever move on their part. Not even saying it's a bad move, but it just seems a little transparent to me, probably why they're doing this and why we're getting this match next weekend. So that got the biggest reaction of anything on the entire show. Elsewhere on the show, we had two more names qualifying for Money in the Bank. We only have one spot left open in the men's match and one spot left open in the women's match. But tonight we had Andrade and we had Naomi going over. They're going to the ladder matches next weekend. Naomi was not a surprise. Naomi would have been my pick. She was my pick. Said that last week. She would be in contention for my pick to win the entire thing. Although I have another name in mind now. We'll talk more about that announcement here in a little while. But we had Andrade besting Jacob Fatu and Carmelo Hayes in the men's Money in the Bank qualifying match. It was a very good match. It was the best match on the entire show. And I thought, all three men in the match, looked great. Far better than the women's match, if you want to compare the two. But poor Carmelo Hayes. I think most people would have suspected that, given the storyline with the bloodline right now, and the fact he's already the United States champion, there was a very good chance that Jacob Fatu was not going to be qualifying for Money in the Bank, which left Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. And I said last week, realistically, as much as I would love to see Jacob in that match, Carmelo Hayes needs this win. Carmelo Hayes needs this win way more than Jacob Fatu does. And they gave it to Andrade, who has no chance of winning Money in the Bank. I'm sorry. Had Carmelo Hayes qualified tonight, I would have said, you know what? He's got a chance. He's got a chance. He's the perfect candidate for Money in the Bank. Especially because, you know, if they put the briefcase on him, they're just going to beat him every week anyway because, well, he won Money in the Bank, so we could beat him. That's the WWE way of doing things. So it's Andrade going to Money in the Bank, who has no chance of qualifying, but he'll do a bunch of big spots, and Carmelo Hayes is still down in the dungeon. And what that means for his future, I don't know. I am flummoxed by the booking of him ever since he's been called up to SmackDown as the #1 draft pick, and he can't even qualify for Money in the Bank. It is what it is, but the match they had tonight was very good. And we also had a fun tag team match with 4 of the names that are part of the Worlds Collide card at the Kia Forum next weekend, which is running a few hours before Money in the Bank. That is the joint show with WWE talent and AAA talent. So in the match tonight, we had Rey Fenix and Javon Evans making his SmackDown debut, teaming up to take on Los Garza. Yeah, I just realized Los Garza actually won a match on the same night that Andrade won a match. They both won their matches here on the same show. When was the last time that happened on an episode of SmackDown? When was the last time that Andrade and Los Garza wrestled on SmackDown, let alone won their respective matches? I feel like history has been made tonight. It's being underplayed here. And so all of those things I just mentioned were good. The closing segment was a hot segment. The men's Money in the Bank match, very good match. The tag match, that was fun. The problem is the other 2 hours of the show, which was not as fun. And the majority of which just felt like filler, and it felt like just a fucking slog to sit through, is what those remaining 2 hours or so of SmackDown felt like tonight, which leads me, of course, to an update on something that I have been talking about now for several weeks, because you see, I had a little countdown going. I was looking forward to June 6th. And the reason I was looking forward to June 6th is because I was told by certain websites that June's actually one newsletter really in particular, and then we heard nothing for weeks after that. But I was told that SmackDown was supposed to go back to 2 hours as of June 6th. In fact, you could take it all the way back to the beginning of the year. And the reports that SmackDown was only supposed to be about 6 months. USA was making SmackDown 3 hours, and then May or June, it would go back to the 2 hour format. That was 6 months ago. And I've been sitting here and I've been counting down. You ever see the meme, the Jason Voorhees memes, where, you know, it's the calendar, the pages on the calendar, and he's crossing off each date until we get to the next Friday the 13th, and he's just standing there all depressed until Friday the 13th finally arrives. That's been me with my calendar, crossing dates off as we get closer to the summer so that we could be done with 3 hours of SmackDown. And then we get the news this week that SmackDown is in fact not returning to 2 hours. SmackDown is now permanently 3 hours long. Motherfuckers! Yes. 3 hours of SmackDown every week going forward indefinitely, because USA Network, surprise, surprise, I just talked about this last week. USA Network is very pleased with the ratings that the 3rd hour of SmackDown have been bringing them. And why wouldn't they be? Because USA Network has shit programming. They have nothing else that even touches what WWE does. I could have told you that. It was a month ago. Triple H, I don't know what press scrum or press conference or podcast or Pat McAfee or whatever the fuck it was. He was doing some show as recently as a month ago. Paul Levesque himself was talking about the show returning to 2 hours. So this was a late decision by USA Network, who had cold feet and said, well, we got something here, and we're not going to be able to replace this with anything else. And so, you know what? On second thought, I think we're going to keep SmackDown 3 hours. USA Network are the ones responsible for Raw going 3 hours in 2012. This has always been a USA Network decision because they have nothing else. USA Network used to be a highly viewed, coveted cable network that had programming outside of WWE even. They had scripted programming, they had reality programming, they had all kinds of programming. And it was a respected cable network, and USA Network now has shit. They have Law and Order reruns, and I love Law and Order, but that's basically all they have. They have Law and Order reruns in WWE. They don't want to give up the numbers that the third hour of SmackDown brings them, 18-49. They love it, and so they're going to stick with it. And so June 6th is out the window, and we have 3 hours of SmackDown every week. And tonight's show is a great example of why I was hoping and praying and waiting for SmackDown to return to the old format, because this is a 2-hour show that is stretched out to 3 hours. Nothing has changed. I said that months ago. I still feel the same way now. Some of the faces are different. Some faces have come and gone. You'll get some faces called up from NXT, but it is a 2-hour show that they have to stretch into 3 hours. And they simply, at least when it comes to SmackDown, are just not able consistently week to week to keep this show interesting enough to warrant an extra third hour. Never do I come away from this show, no matter how many good segments, and there were a few of them on the show tonight, never do I come away from this show thinking, man, I wish this show would have gone longer. I mean, when it was over, I was hoping that they would find a way to just extend it and give it an overrun, because I had so much fun watching SmackDown tonight. Every hour offered something different. No, it's like, man, if this show was 2 hours, this would have been maybe the best SmackDown all year. But it has to be formatted in such a way to support 3 hours, and you end up with a show like tonight, where when it's over, you feel like the majority of it was just filler and just nothing segments. And it makes me sad that this is the way it's going to continue to be from here on out. So that's your update on the Raw and SmackDown 3 hour history here. We go from Raw being 3 hours, SmackDown now inherits that. At least Raw's 2.5 hours. And now SmackDown gets to be 3 hours for the next 10 years. So there you go. I am in mourning. I don't have my black. I should have worn my black suit and my black tie, because I am in mourning tonight. This is your Friday Night SmackDown review for May 30th, 2025. I am the Solomonster.
I have the best moveset.
Yes, indeed you do. Kevin Owens, gone for the rest of the year, but when he comes back, SmackDown will still be 3 hours. Think about that. Like and subscribe.
I have the best moveset.
That's the third time, by the way, including the intro, that we have seen Kevin Owens make an appearance here on this stream. Well, look, if we can't get him on TV, at least you can find him here. As you can tell, super chats are open. Get them on in. I will be reading all of your messages, Kevin Owens or otherwise. And you will also see, I mentioned this the other night, but you will also, it's 10 bell salute. You know what? I should have done that. I should have prepared a 10 bell salute for tonight. I mentioned this on Wednesday because you may see little crowns next to people's names in the live chat. There's a new feature. It's a leaderboard feature, and you could click that little community button up on top. It'll tell you who's at the top of the leaderboard. I think it might be our buddy Maze the Great, but the more interactive and chatty you are in the chat, including super chats, the higher you can get on the leaderboard. I think Maze won the other night. It resets every stream. So is Maze going to take the crown again tonight, or is it going to be somebody else? I don't know, but go check out the XP rankings and interact with your fellow chatters. And I'll be keeping tabs on all you guys. Let's get into this show here, because they opened tonight's SmackDown with Bianca Belair making her way out for a homecoming here in Knoxville. They were in Knoxville, Tennessee tonight. So she went over to go hug both of her parents who were in the front row. Her mother was in a wheelchair in the front row, which would become relevant based on a comment that Naomi made during this segment when she came out. She still had her left hand all bandaged up with a splint from her injury. She broke, I don't know if it was one or multiple. I think she broke multiple fingers in the triple threat match of WrestleMania. So she said that she couldn't come back to Knoxville without singing Rocky Top, which, if you don't know, Rocky Top is the official fight song for the University of Tennessee. I actually think it's one of the official state songs for the state of Tennessee. And so she told them to hit the music, and she didn't sing it so much as she danced and just bounced, up and down, and the crowd sang it. And that's how we opened SmackDown. I wasn't sure if I was watching a wrestling show or College Game Day, but we got Rocky Top here to open the show. So she called this her safe space here in Knoxville and said that she had to come back to Knoxville to heal. And then Naomi interrupted. And she walked to the ring, and Naomi said that she was glad Bianca was back, and Bianca told Naomi, look, this ain't the time for this. So Naomi said she thinks about what happened between them every single day. And she looked very emotional, and she was begging for Bianca's forgiveness. Naomi said that she's been trying to communicate with Bianca for months. All she wants is for the two of them to just move forward. She said she even dropped by Bianca's parents' house to see that, see if Bianca was home, see if she can get a hold of her earlier in the day, which caught Bianca by surprise. And Naomi said, well, nobody was home, so I let myself in. Admitting to a felony on live television doesn't exactly strike me as the best decision on Naomi's part. Naomi said that she was looking through some old photo albums and she saw pictures of Bianca being very happy, and she just wants that back. Like when they were the tag team champions. Bianca says Naomi betrayed her trust and lied to her for months, and what she did. And then she warned her that if you go near my family again, I'm going to make what you did to Jade seem like child's play. Naomi got herself to start crying again. This is her new thing now. She can cry on demand. You can see the tears streaming down her face. And she says that it wouldn't be good for Bianca to end up in a wheelchair like her mama. So before Bianca could do anything, because apparently she's still not medically cleared, Jade Cargill's music hits and she power walks to the ring. She has a very short fight with Naomi, boots her from the ring. Jade and Bianca, they shared a stare from afar. No action between them, no physicality, nothing happened, but they were staring each other down. Nothing came out of it. Now, out comes Nia Jax. And it's very clear at this point that they're getting all the women out there for the opening match, which is coming up next. The big triple threat match that they announced for tonight. So they're picking up right where they left off with Bianca and Jade and Naomi, and teasing dissension between Bianca and Jade. But my sense is that in the end, they'll reconcile. I don't think they're going to have one turn heel on the other. That's just not my sense of it right now. But I don't know. I don't know how long they're going to drag this out for. If they can keep it interesting, then great. If there's going to be a turn, the idea of Bianca turning is still very interesting to me. I don't see any indication of them wanting to do that, but I just hope if they're going to continue to drag this thing out, that they at least have some kind of payoff, something interesting, some interesting path for it. But that was it. That was the opening segment here. Just to get Bianca on the show for a homecoming. They were very happy to see her. I'm very happy to see that.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Oh my goodness, yes indeed. I always make sure that I have some Mentos on hand. For example, when I got the news that SmackDown was going to be staying 3 hours, I ate an entire package of Mentos. And then I puked my guts up. Thank you. Thank you for the Mentos Super Chat. You guys are awesome. Puts a smile on my face every single time. And a minty fresh flavor in my mouth. Up next was the first of 2 Money in the Bank triple threat qualifying matches on this show. This was the ladies. We had Naomi, we had Nia Jax, and we had Jade Cargill. Naomi came off the middle rope, and Jade caught her, hit a fallaway slam. Nia delivered a Samoan drop to Jade, and then a leg drop on both women before throwing Jade out of the ring. Nia went to the middle rope and hit a leg drop on Naomi, but she kicked out. The announcers reacted to this leg drop like Nia had sat on her face or something. That might be some people's thing, but it was just a leg drop. Nothing really terrible about it. Not like that apron power bomb on Dynamite the other night. So after a commercial break, the heels were double teaming Jade until Naomi tried to pin her, and Nia wasn't having any of that. So this is my favorite part of the match. Nia hits a running senton on Naomi for a near fall, and she's sitting there, and the camera gets a nice, clear, close-up shot of Nia sitting there looking back at somebody who we can't see, but looking back at somebody and saying, "Start your comeback." And sure enough, Jade Cargill reappeared, and Jade Cargill began her comeback on Nia Jax. So Jade hit a spine buster on Nia. Naomi followed that with a Meteora. Jade came back with a Jaded on Naomi, but Nia broke up the pin attempt. All three women were down, so we had a little reset here. Nia hit a Samoan drop on Naomi from the middle rope, but Jade flew in from the top with a frog splash on Nia for a nice near fall. So the three women, they traded blows. Naomi went to the top rope. Jade cut her off, and Nia stumbled over. And she powerbombed Jade at the same time that Jade superplexed Naomi. Nia then stacks them both up in the corner and heads to the ropes to hit her finish, which of course is the Annihilator. She comes off, Naomi moves, and so Nia squashes Jade. And when I say squashed her, she squashed her. So a rough landing. And then Naomi hooked Nia over into a pinfall, shoulders down, and she gets the 3 count to win the match. At the start of this, it looked to me like they were moving in slow motion. If you go back and watch the beginning of this match, and the last few minutes, honestly, were not that much better. This was a very average match that got audible "This is awesome" chants. And again, these chants don't mean anything anymore. There are awesome matches and moments that will get chants of "This is awesome," but every match, virtually every match, gets a chance of "This is awesome." Every match that's above, 4 or 5 minutes, it gets at least one "This is awesome" chant, even though it is decisively not awesome. So they don't mean anything anymore. I mean, they haven't meant a whole lot for a while now. But I mean, people chant "This is awesome" now with things like the way they breathe, the way they wipe their ass. This is awesome. Maybe they chant that when they wipe their ass. I've never done that. I mean, to me, it's like, the thought never occurred to me, but who knows? Maybe some of these people, after every task in their home, when they wipe their ass, when they brush their teeth in the morning, when they take out the trash, maybe they just start randomly breaking out into chants of "This is awesome." I don't know. Awesome is not a word I would use to describe this match. But for the 5th time in her career, 5th time, Naomi has qualified for Money in the Bank match. She's never won one, but with this heel turn and with this new character that she's portraying, looking at who was in this match, she was the right choice to go over here. And I said before that she should be in consideration for a win in that Money in the Bank. I'm not going to sit here and say that I would go with her to win, but she at least deserves to be under consideration, because I could easily see her being the one, running around with the briefcase for a while, teasing cash-ins, acting all crazy. Realistically, she has to be one of the favorites in terms of like who you think might go over in that match. But I said earlier that there was some news I would share here, and this news actually comes courtesy of the Raw general manager, Adam Pearce, who posted a video on social media earlier today. Sidro says, "On the toilet, holy shit chants." Well, to be fair, that is something I have said before. So there are times where I could see that. I could see that, but that's a different story for a different day. This video, though, that Adam Pearce posted on social media, he was all smiles. And the reason he was all smiles is because he announced that Stephanie Vaquer, the now former NXT Women's Champion, is officially a member of the Monday Night Raw roster. And that, to me, deserves a cheer. That is well deserved. I'm very happy to hear that she is officially main roster bound. Not only is Stephanie Vaquer now a member of the Raw roster, and what did I say last week? When Julia got shifted over to SmackDown, I said Stephanie should go to Raw because I wouldn't have them on the same brand. And evidently WWE felt the same way. So Stephanie now is going to be on Raw. She's also going to be in the final Women's Money in the Bank qualifying match, which is coming up on Monday. It's going to be Stephanie Vaquer It's going to be Liv Morgan, and it is going to be Ivy Nile. I'm sure Ivy Nile is going to win Money in the Bank. Ivy Nile is in there for the same reason Kairi Sane was in that qualifying match with Rhea and Zoe Stark. Ivy Nile is in there to take the pin, most likely, so that Liv Morgan does not have to, because I do believe that Stephanie Vaquer is qualifying for Money in the Bank, as she should. And in fact, she would be my pick to win the entire thing. I would love to see Stephanie Vaquer win the Money in the Bank briefcase. I hope she does. First, she has to qualify, but I hope she does. I hope that's exactly where it goes. I could see Roxanne Perez playing a role that, in the end ends up costing Liv Morgan because they're teasing tension between Liv and Roxanne. So I think Stephanie qualifies, and I would love to see Stephanie walking around with that briefcase. Solo Sikoa was walking. Backstage after this, they showed him with Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo when they ran into R-Truth, who was having a conversation with Little Jimmy or John Cena. I don't know, one or the other, but he was having a conversation with someone. So Solo made fun of Truth for talking to ghosts. Truth looked at JC Mateo and said, "I've never seen you before a day in my life." And he asked Solo if JC was his son. Truth said that he was going to go ask Nick Aldis for a match with Mateo later on, and then Jacob chimed in and said he had to go take care of business for himself tonight. Now, Nick Aldis was approached a little later by Chelsea Green in the back. She was with her secret Hervis. Chelsea was wearing a bedazzled face mask after getting her nose broken at Saturday night's main event by Zelina Vega. She said that it was deliberate what Zelina did, and that Aldis needed to strip her of the United States Championship. Aldis denied that request, and then Chelsea advocated for Alba Fire to take on Zelina tonight, and Aldis made it official. And so from there, elsewhere in the back, we go to Byron Saxton, who was interviewing the WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton. Saxton asked Tiffany how she was handling the pressure of being champion. She said that she's prepared because she's always been a girl that everybody has been obsessed with. Whoever cashes in on her, or tries to, will be making a big mistake. At that point, Naomi walked in and fresh off her win and told Tiffany that she would win the ladder match and cash in whenever and wherever she wants. And as she walked away, Alexa Bliss walked into camera frame and told Tiffany that she shouldn't worry about Naomi, and instead she should be concerned about her. And Tiffany was left standing there looking very pensive and very, very nervous and wondering, because she's got people coming at her from every angle. That's how she won the championship. Cashed in Money in the Bank. What's good for one is good for the other. Could happen to her. You never know. Now, they aired a vignette at this point here in the show, and they were hyping. Maddie wants to know, he says, "I have a question. Can John Cena see Little Jimmy?" He says. I mean, you're asking me these questions like I have an answer. It may have been John Cena that R-Truth was talking to. R-Truth was still using John Cena spots in his fucking match later. Wait until we get to that. It's ridiculous. So they aired a vignette hyping the four-way match coming up at Worlds Collide next Saturday for the NXT North American Championship, which Ethan Page just won from Ricky Saints on Tuesday's NXT. It's going to be Ethan Page defending the title against Javon Evans, Rey Fenix, and Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid is quite great. And we are very fortunate because we at House of Glory have Laredo Kid coming in for our Texas debut coming up on July 11th. And who knows, maybe he'll be coming in as the NXT North American champion. Wouldn't that be something? So that's going to be a four-way match on the card next weekend. Now I mentioned R-Truth. One-on-one with JC Mateo. Mateo went for a splash. Truth moved, followed with a series of shoulder blocks, the last of which took Mateo down. And so Truth calls for a 5-knuckle shuffle. And he hits it. And then he lifted Mateo for an attitude adjustment, but he collapsed under his weight, and Mateo landed on top of him And then Mateo followed that with the Tour of the Islands for the win. When the match was over, Mateo roughed up Truth until Jimmy Uso ran out with a chair to make the save. And with Jimmy's attention turned to Solo Sikoa, Mateo attacked Jimmy until Solo stopped him, pushed him away from Jimmy, because presumably, Solo was trying to convince Jimmy to come back into the family. So he backed him off. They've been feeding wins to JC Mateo, which is good. It's the sort of thing you have to do when you debut somebody new. And so what? This was his third win now, right? He beat LA Knight in his first match. Then there was last week, and now he wins again. And they're very likely building to a United States title match very soon between Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo. So it makes sense that you would feed him wins. What I don't understand is, why is R-Truth still going out there after what we saw happen to him on Saturday and using all of John Cena's moves? Like this, he's been doing this bit for years now, where he mimics all of John Cena's offense. He does the shoulder blocks, and he does the 5-knuckle shuffle, and he does the attitude adjustment. And he wrestled Cena on Saturday, and Cena beat him and kicked him in the dick, right? And beat him and left, and that was it. And there was certainly no follow-up to that tonight. His childhood hero let him down. He's still going out there doing John Cena's moves. The bit is over. It's done. You tried. It didn't work. He beat you. He embarrassed you. And he's still going out there emulating John Cena. I mean, can we end this? Is this really necessary at this point? Do they think R-Truth is incapable of coming up with another bit or doing some of his own shit? I don't know. It just feels very lazy to keep this going. Now, they sent the Street Profits out at the top of the first hour, hour 1 of 6, here for a promo, coming off their Tag Team Championship main event last week against Fraxium. Montez Ford called the SmackDown tag team scene the best on any brand or in any promotion. Now, it's not at all the best tag team division that there's ever been or anything like that, but it's hard to argue with that statement. If you think of the other brands, if you think of the other shows, promotions, is there another tag team division? I'm not talking trios or anything like that. Is there another tag team division right now that you would say is far better than what they have going right now on SmackDown? I can't think of any that I can honestly look at and say, you know what? Unequivocally, no. This tag team division over here is the best tag team division. So I don't think he's wrong when he makes that statement. Angelo Dawkins brings up the different teams that are on the show, and he concludes with the Wyatt Six.
I am the
Shut the fuck up. Fuck that tree. A tree has sprouted here tonight, thanks to Sidro. The learning tree. He heard me talk about the lack of really good tag team divisions right now. And evidently he objected and wanted me to remember that Big Bill and Brian Keith are a team. That's why he chimed in there. But again, I challenge you to find me a tag team division that you honestly believe at this moment, just the way they're booked and presented, is as active and as good as the one that we have on SmackDown. Because I can't think of one. Fuck that tree. Hey, Fluff. It's brother Fluff Salisbury is with us. Thank you, Fluff. Wow, we're already 7 out of 10 on the goal in the chat for bonus Be the Booker. That's pretty cool. We only need 3 more. Make that 2. Make that 2. I see Matt Fisher just came in. But anyway, so Fraxium comes out. Nathan Frazier, Axiom, they make their way out to the ring. They have microphones, and they say that if the Street Profits want to defend their titles, then they feel they didn't get a fair shake last week. They would like to have a rematch. So Montez Ford feels that we had you guys beat before the Wyatts got involved. Axiom disagrees, says we'll never know because of the Wyatts, but they think that they should run that match back, which brings out the Motor City Machine Guns. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, they talk their way down to the ring, They say that the Street Profits have never beaten the Guns either. So then they should be able to have a claim also to a tag team title match. So naturally that brings out DIY because we really needed one of these revolving door segments that I love so much. Candice LeRae talks and Chris Sabin interrupts her, which gets Johnny Gargano all hot and bothered. He calls Sabin a stupid idiot. He says they brought in Candice to help overcome the conspiracy against DIY. Wow, he's really just lifting all of Jericho's shit, isn't he? He's calling people stupid idiot. He's lifting the conspiracy shit that Jericho was doing in WCW 30 years ago. Johnny Gargano has been studying his Y2J tapes, apparently. So Tommaso Ciampa doesn't want anybody bringing up the Wyatts because then they'll come out. And he accuses everyone of killing the tag team division that DIY built. Ciampa demands a moment of silence. And so naturally, what happens? The lights go out. The lights come back on. And then the Wyatt Six are in the ring. And they lay waste to everybody, ending with Uncle Howdy delivering a Sister Abigail to Nathan Frazier. And then the Wyatts all pose together exactly the same way they did last week, only without the birthday cake in the middle of the ring. And then they go to commercial. This was a segment. It was a segment, and not a very good one. They did the exact same thing that they did last week. Rinse, repeat. The same damn thing. And later in the show, because I was curious to see, this can't be the only thing that we get from the Wyatt Six tonight. And it wasn't, although what they gave us with the follow-up wasn't much either. But later in the show, they did break in with a quick, one of these VHS-style videos that we were getting previously from the Wyatt Six. And it was very brief. And this was just Uncle Howdy saying they won't stop until they get what they're owed. So at least that was something. At least they gave us a little bit more than what we got here in this segment. Not much, but they gave us something. What does he mean by that? We'll have to chew on that for a week. What are they owed? What exactly are they owed? Correct me if I'm wrong. The last time we saw the Wyatt Six, before they made their return, didn't they lose to the Final Testament? I'm almost positive they lost that match and that we didn't see them again after that. What exactly are they owed is what I'm wondering. They still didn't tell us why they're targeting specifically the tag team division. I don't expect them. They don't have to give everything away in 1 week, but again, I was expecting something more, something different in some way than what we got last week. And like I said, rinse, repeat. It was basically just push the rewind button. And I just thought it was very lazy. Hopefully we'll get some sort of explanation in a separate video at some point in these next few weeks. But I had another thought as I was thinking about this, because I'll heap praise on the SmackDown tag team division right now, especially as compared to what we have on Monday nights. I mean, there's no comparison. But one thing that has really struck me about the way that Triple H has booked these shows, and this applies to SmackDown and it applies to Raw. And I can't speak too much to what Shawn Michaels is doing, because with all the tag teams in NXT, not that there are that many, but I haven't been following everything that's been happening with the tag division there. I know Hank and Tank are the champions, and beyond that, you got a bunch of other teams that I'm not really that familiar with. But sticking with Triple H specifically, he is not very good at booking either tag team division to exist in a world where we can have one-on-one programs and stories with tag teams. If you'll notice, it's always all the teams come out for a segment like we had tonight, or you take 3 teams and you put them in a TLC match, or you have some other triple threat. They love doing triple threat matches. I can't remember the last time on this show that we had a tag team, I'm not even talking a match, like a tag team program that was really interesting, like a tag team program of any interest between 2 teams. It's always, let's just throw everybody into the mix. Like one big tornado will drop, because at one point we had the Street Profits and they were beefing with the Machine Guns, who were beefing with Pretty Deadly, who were beefing with these guys and that guys. And even on Raw, honestly, it's really not all that different. And when we do get a kind of a one-on-one tag team thing going on, it just isn't very interesting. It's as if he's just incapable, or just feels that, you know what, it's not really a selling point on the show, so why invest the time to try to come up with a story that people are going to be interested in? I just don't think he's very good at it. So yeah, you could send every team that you have on the roster out there, but you know, it's kind of cheap. I mean, how many times are we going to see all of these teams coming out in the same segment, cutting promos on each other? So now what are we going to do? What is this leading to? The Wyatt Six just came back, right? Now they're going to be involved in the tag team division. So great. Now we have a new team, whatever team that's going to be, whatever makeup, because it could be any number of guys from the Wyatt Six that are going to be teaming up. Okay, great. So we have a new team there, right? So does this mean that the Wyatt Six is going to what exactly? Are they going to go through each team one by one? Are they targeting the entire division? Are we going to end up with some sort of multi-team Mania match? Like, what are we looking at here? Given the way things have gone in the past, that's probably something that we're looking at. Has not a reflection on the talent. Plenty of talent in the division, but the booking leaves a lot to be desired. But I'll tell you what, speaking of tag team matches that I liked, we got one right after this, which was Rey Fenix and Javon Evans in his SmackDown debut, taking on Los Garza, Angel, and Berto, all four men, not necessarily in the same match, but all four men going to be involved in the Worlds Collide show next weekend. Ethan Page, brand new NXT North American champion, he sat in on commentary for this match. After a commercial break, they were working over Javon, and he leapt across the ring trying to reach for a hot tag, but he came up just short. Evans kicked Berto in the head, and then he got the tag to Fenix. Angel tagged in as well. Fenix took the heels out, complete with a double springboard moonsault on Angel. Evans tagged back in and hit a springboard clothesline on Angel. Evans and Angel, they traded chops from their knees, and the two of them got to their feet. They traded punches. Angel hit a springboard powerbomb on Evans for a near fall. So Los Garza, they lined up for their finish on Javon. Fenix, though, broke it up. And then he walked the ropes. He double stomped Angel right to the back of his neck. They ended up, both heels did, on the floor outside. So Javon Evans then climbed to the top, not even of the top rope, but the top of the ring post casing. And he did a dive off the post, took out Los Garza. Evans and Fenix spot Ethan Page sitting there. And they approach him, and Page stands up, and he starts yelling back at them, and he's holding up his North American Championship. Fenix and Evans turn their attention back to their opponents, but Page shoves Fenix into Evans from behind. And then he dumps Fenix over the announce desk. Evans super kicks Page, kind of fell into the announce desk and then fell to the floor. And then Evans got back into the ring. He cleared Angel to the floor. Berto rolled up Evans, only for a 2 count. Evans put Berto down with a kick. He went up top. He was ready to finish it off. He was going to come off the top rope with a big splash. Santos Escobar, though, on the other side of the ring, gets up on the apron, and he starts distracting the referee. And that allows Ethan Page to push Evans off the top rope. He, I think, collided with the ropes on the way down. He fell to the mat. Los Garza then hit their finish on Javon, and Angel pinned him to win it for Legado del Fantasma. So good action here in this match, and it was nice to see Ethan Page out there. Yeah, just looking at him sitting out there in the suit with the title belt and everything, and even the commentary that he did was good. He fit. He fits in. He fits in well. So when the time is right for him to get called up on either show, I think he'll be a good fit on either brand, and I think he'll do well. He just seemed like a natural fit here. Now, I know some people are not going to like Javon Evans jobbing out to Angel, because when the hell does Angel win anything? Or Berto, or any of these guys? And here's Javon Evans, who has been pushed like a big deal, one of their hot young stars in NXT. And he debuts here on this show, and of all people to lose to here in his first match, he loses to Los Garza. Evans, though, looked real good out there. You know, the crowd was into his offense. He did fine. He's 21 years old. And he's not on SmackDown full-time yet, nor should he be. He's one of the rising stars in NXT. NXT is where he should be, especially as they begin to call up more names from NXT. He's 21 years old. He's going to be fine. There's no reason for anybody to be upset about that or think that this is somehow going to harm him. Nobody is going to remember this in 2 weeks. I promise you. But what they'll remember, probably more than that, are some of the big dives and some of the big moves that he got in here. So it's not a big deal. They have a show to promote next weekend in LA. A lot of these guys are going to be, involved in that show. And Ethan Page is in the same match that Siobhan Evans and Rey Fenix are going to be in. That's why they did the finish they did. I'd rather they beat Siobhan Evans than beat Rey Fenix. So, because I already saw some of the comments, but not a big deal. He's going to be fine. He's got a bright future. As long as he doesn't spend his time tweeting Ricochet, he'll have a bright future on this show. Row Roman Reigns gently down the stream. Row Roman Reigns gently down the stream. So that's where Roman's been. He's been rowing down the stream. Roman's enjoying his vacation on the island of relevancy. Roman's got his hands full. Roman's got 2 sets of twins. That'll beat the hell out of you real fast. Anyway, we're 9 out of 10 in the chat on that bonus goal. We only have one more $20 super chat to be the Booker goal. How about that? Let's talk about this match here, even though I really don't want to. Zelina Vega, the Women's United States Champion, one-on-one with Alba Fire, who was out there with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven in her corner. The champion's entrance was not televised. Alba Fire's entrance was televised, but not Zelina Vega. Hell of a champion. Vega got Alba in position for a 619. Green, though, distracted the referee, and Fire took advantage of that. And after Alba took down Zelina, she looked straight ahead into the hard cam, and she saluted as they went to commercial break. Okay, then. Back from break, Fire maintained control until Vega hit a knee to the head. Both women were down. Vega came off the middle rope with a double knees and got a 2 count out of it. So then Alba lifted Vega. Vega, though, countered into a neck breaker, but then missed a moonsault from the top. Fire went to the top, hit a swanton bomb for a nice near fall, and reacted to it in such a way that I think they were expecting the crowd to react. The only problem is the crowd did not react. The crowd was ice cold for this. Absolutely no reaction whatsoever. Vega found herself on the outside. Chelsea tried to hit her with her mask. She took her mask off, and she tried to hit her with it. And Zelina moved. Green hit Piper with it instead. Back inside, Vega landed a code red and got the very anticlimactic win. I don't know what this Zelina Vega music is that she comes out to, but like when the match... Now, again, she didn't even get an entrance here for this match. When she won the match and they played her music and she was going to the back, I thought they were playing the SmackDown music. I can't even distinguish this woman's entrance music from the fucking theme song of the show. That's how bad her music is. That's how generic her music is. But the bigger problem here is far bigger than the music that she has. The struggle is real for Zelina Vega when it comes to connecting with these crowds week to week. Somehow the reactions are getting worse. Because you would think she's been champion now for a little while, and it's not like she's brand new and nobody knows who she is. But the reactions, they're certainly not getting any better. The people are not getting any more vocal. They're just getting quieter and quieter and quieter. And they just don't seem to give a shit, when she's out there. And she's not the only one. There are other women in the mid-card on this show that have that same issue, but they're not all the United States champion. But it's an issue that cannot be ignored. And working a program with Chelsea Green, and I love Chelsea, but working a program in the mid-card with Chelsea Green and Piper and doing this for months on end, that doesn't help. Because it was time to move on from this weeks ago, and they're still beating a dead horse here. And I just look at what they're doing on Raw right now. You know, on Raw, you've got Lyra Valkyria, who is the Intercontinental Champion, and she's feuding with Becky Lynch, who's one of the top stars in the entire division, one of the top stars in the entire company. And she's feuding with her right now. Either treat this woman here in this division on this show with some serious competition, or get that title off of her as soon as possible. What did I say a couple of weeks ago, right? I said Julia is right there. They had this Money in the Bank qualifying match coming up, Julia, Charlotte, and Zelina. And if you have Julia pin Zelina and go on to Money in the Bank and not win, she has a win over the United States champion. There's a built-in feud, a built-in match there ready for her coming out of Money in the Bank. You put that U.S. title on her and let her run with it. And that's what they did in the Money in the Bank match. She actually beat Zelina to win that match and qualify. But it sets up a future championship match, and they can get that title away from her. Now, I should point out that later in the show, they showed Zelina. She was walking in the back, and she ran into Julia. And Julia, this was after they aired a Julia video package, which was very good, and it included comments from Julia, whose English has gotten better, and they had subtitles in the promo, which I'm not sure why, because honestly, her English was good enough. They didn't really need subtitles for this promo. But again, she's brand new to the brand. It's smart to do video packages like this. So it was after that they came to the back. Julia confronts her, and Julia made a comment to her that I see it. I see your title. And Zelina walked off. So they're already teasing a future match here between these two. That's exactly what they need to be doing. That's exactly the direction that they need to be going in. Get that title off of her and onto Julia as soon as possible. It's the only way to salvage this championship dilemma that they're in, because you shouldn't be sending the United States champion, or any champion, frankly, out there to crickets. And then not even giving the champion a televised entrance that's says a lot right there. So the only way to save this is to get the title off of her. Julia would be my pick, and obviously they're already teasing that direction. And also use it as a way to platform Julia. Put that championship on her and let her just become someone who people can look at and go, oh, okay, Julia is coming out, right? And they look at her as something special where they have to pay attention to what she's doing. Because she just has something about her, I feel like, that draws people to her. It's not universal. You know, Julia's made a few appearances so far on this show, and it's not like she's getting monster reactions, but she's brand new to SmackDown. She doesn't have the equity that Zelina Vega has. Zelina Vega has been in this company for many years. When Zelina Vega became Queen Zelina, I think that tournament was in 2021, okay? Just to give you a sense. So she has far more equity in this show than Julia does. And it's actually quite painful, the reactions or lack thereof that she's getting. I think with Julia, they will come. They're not there yet, but I do think in time they will come. And putting that U.S. title on her and letting her have a real run with it and rip through people, I think that's going to be the way to go with it. But what they're doing right now is just not fucking working. It is not working.
It's the amazing Gunther. Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
Well, Gunther is working. Gunther never stops, though. Gunther never takes a night off. And he is with us tonight as well. Love it. Love it. Let's go backstage. Oh. We go backstage to Brie mode. Hey, Matt, thank you. Backstage, The Miz tried to fire up Carmelo Hayes about following his plan. Just follow the plan. And Hayes said that he knew what he was doing. Miz asked, do you? Adding that he's watched Carmelo take several black mass kicks from Aleister Black. Miz reminded him that he gave up his spot in the qualifying match tonight for Carmelo. And Miz added that if Hayes wins tonight, he would make sure we are Mr. Money in the Bank. And Hayes took exception to this whole we thing. He told Miz that he could run the plays, but it's his talent that brought him to the dance. Hayes said that he's him, and he needs Miz to let him be him. Miz smiled. He did not seem very happy, though. Even though he was smiling, he had a smile on his face like he was probably upset about being shown up here in this segment. Now, Damian Priest was out to the ring with a nice shiner under his eye, coming out of his steel cage match with Drew McIntyre at Saturday night's main event this weekend. And that cowardly finish. What a coward, walking out the cage door like that. You know what they should do? It'd be kind of funny if it'd be like a rib on Damian Priest, where only for Damian Priest's matches on these shows, they should fly in Jesse Ventura to do commentary, just so he can shit on the guy. Call him a coward and call him just heel on him and call him all sorts of names. And then as soon as his segment is over, Jesse just gets up and leaves and goes to the back. He's got like a jet waiting for him outside. Because Jesse, he was just beside himself on Saturday when he saw Damian Priest exit the cage by walking out of the cage door. He could not believe what he was seeing. Called the man a coward. He buried the finish of that match live on NBC. Oh, he walked out the door. How exciting. I fucking died when he was just burying the finish like that on live TV. Jesse being Jesse. Anyway, Priest said that he's been breathing fresh air since beating Drew McIntyre. Priest talked about how their beef lasted for over a year. But they took it into the cage. They went to war, and he put Drew's ass in the past. Priest said that he had one thing he wanted to say to Drew. He still can't stand his ass, but he can appreciate the fact that Drew was a warrior inside the cage. And he talked about how now he has his eyes set on a championship, and that championship is held by a certain badass. And the fans picked up on who he was talking about. Of course, he's talking about Jacob Fatu in the United States Championship. Priest said he respects the hell out of Fatu. Goes, real talk, I'm proud of you. Congratulations, that's real. Because he talked about how they both come from the streets, right? There's a lot of similarities between them. Priest said that he doesn't respect Fatu's crew, and at some point, Fatu and Priest are going to have to handle some business inside the ring. So Priest said that if Fatu's family wants to get involved, they'll get some too. So he dropped the mic, and he left the ring. And as he was exiting to the back, they started playing Jacob's music because he was on his way out for the next match. And so, of course, they passed each other in the aisleway, and they had a little bit of a tense stare down. And then they went their separate ways. And that was the end of that. I am all for a feud for the U.S. title between Damian Priest and Jacob Fatu. I like it. I think that, first of all, it's over, finally. It's over between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. McIntyre is gone for the foreseeable future. He's getting time off. He's all banged up. He can't move his head all the way to the left. Yeah, I said the other night, man, if I were Damian Priest, because McIntyre was going on fucking podcasts and shows talking about, I can't move my head all the way to the left. I'm like, man, just attack him from the left. It would have made life so much easier for him on Saturday. But that feud is now over, as it should be. I think when McIntyre comes back, I wonder if he'll be a babyface. I feel like the fans were already sort of going in that direction with him. But if he's going to be gone for several months, I don't even know if he'll be back for SummerSlam. Is he gone for 2 months? Is he gone for 6 months? I don't know how long he's going to be gone for, but it may be inevitable that not long after he comes back, McIntyre may end up being a babyface. I mean, I enjoy him as a heel, but I don't know. I mean, has he gone as far as he's going to go as a heel? Because it just feels like unless they move him back to Raw, as far as the WWE Championship goes, I really don't see anything like that in his future, as a heel on SmackDown. So I do wonder when we see him next, what his future is going to hold. But, Priest and Fatu is risky for one reason. It's risky because the people love Jacob Fatu. They like Damian Priest, but they do not love Damian Priest in the way that they love Jacob Fatu. And so if the idea is not to turn Damian Priest heel, there is a risk here in putting him in the ring with Fatu, because Fatu's hanging out with the bloodline, but the fans were already treating him and seeing him as a babyface. To them, he is a babyface. So if they have a one-on-one straight-up feud, I mean, realistically, who do you think the fans are going to side with there? Right? That could turn out pretty badly for Damian Priest. That's the only thing I would be concerned about as a match and a feud, though. I'm on board with that. I think that's great. Now we have another Money in the Bank qualifying match to talk about. But before I get into the rest of the show, we have some important business to take care of, because tonight's show is sponsored by our friends at MyBookie. Backlash is in the books. Winners got paid. It's in the past now. It's in the rear view. It's ancient history. We look forward, and coming up next is Money in the Bank. And you could have money in your bank when you bet with MyBookie. Money in the Bank tends to be one of the more exciting WWE shows of the year. It tends to be one of the more unpredictable WWE shows of the year. You could have somebody in either ladder match come from out of nowhere. They could come from out of left field and win the entire thing. You could have somebody cash in their briefcase that night, right? We've seen that before. In another match, you got the WWE champion on one side of the ring, and on the other side of the ring is the World Heavyweight champion. But the match I'm most looking forward to, honestly, is the women's ladder match, because that lineup is just stacked. Now, if you've never bet on WWE before, MyBookie is giving you the chance to do so and make a nice little profit too. Keep your eyes on their website for when the lines go live, and be sure to get in on the action before the window slams shut. The way that the Hulkster body slammed Andre the Giant, all 800 pounds of him, dude. Brother. So be sure to lock in those bets. Go to MyBookie online right now at mybookie.ag and use my promo code, the one you see right there, exclusively for Solomonster Sounds Off fans. That's code Solomonster, and boost your bankroll. So if you deposit $50, you get $25. Go bigger with $100, and MyBookie will throw in $50, because that's just how they roll. So bet smart, stay ready, and cash in when it counts, only at MyBookie. Jacob Fatu, Andrade, and Carmelo Hayes. This was our second Money in the Bank qualifying triple threat match of the night. On the men's side here this time, unlike the women's match earlier in the show. Miz grabbed Fatu's foot early, and Hayes tried to roll up Fatu, but he didn't budge. Fatu got super kicked out to the floor. Then he got up and he stared at The Miz, and The Miz was very concerned about this. The Miz was begging for his life. He was begging off. Fatu caught Hayes coming at him and dropped him out of midair with a thrust before putting Miz down with a super kick. Fatu hit Miz with a running hip attack up against the timekeeper's barricade, and that took us into the picture-in-picture break. Now, when they came back, Joe Tessitore said that, because Miz was gone, and Joe Tessitore said that Miz was taken to the back for medical attention. So Andrade tripped Fatu before he could go up for his mighty moonsault. Andrade climbed to the top. He went for a moonsault of his own, but he did the spot where he lands on his feet, when Fatu moves out of the way, and then he hits him with a standing moonsault. Andrade had Fatu pinned, but Hayes broke it up. Later on, Fatu went for a running hip attack to both men at ringside, because they were both outside up against the barricade, but they moved, and Fatu crashed and burned through the timekeeper's barricade. Hey, it's like the man says, all gas, no brakes. When you don't have any brakes, you can't stop. And he didn't stop. He went and crashed through that barricade. That took him out for a bit. It took us into the picture-in-picture break is what it took us into. So I should mention here, this crowd was dead. Forgot to mention that part. These guys are out there and they got their working shoes on, and it's a Money in the Bank qualifying match, so we have some stakes here. We're trying to fill one of the last spots here in this match, and Jacob Fatu was out there. I said the fans love Fatu. Even with Jacob Fatu out there, this crowd in Knoxville sounded dead, and they were packed tonight. Again, they had well north of 14,000 people in the building, and I just don't know. I don't know. How do you have a crowd that big and it sounds so quiet? It just felt like pulling teeth here to try to get reactions out of these people. And then to make it even worse, when they come back from commercial break, and there's really no reason for them to chant this. Nothing was teased or anything like that. The fans, they just randomly break out into a chant of, "We want tables." Like they just gave so little of a shit that they just randomly decided to start chanting for tables here in this match. So Melo went to the top. Andrade cut him off. Fatu reappeared. He threw both guys, which resulted in something of an assisted Spanish fly from Andrade to Melo. Fatu then landed a swanton on Melo from the top, but Andrade broke up the pin attempt. Andrade hit a back elbow to Fatu, who had Melo on his shoulders, but Fatu kicked out when both guys tried to pin Fatu. I'm not sure how that would have worked with a double pin, but it didn't work anyway. So now here comes Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo. Down to, you could see this coming from a mile away. Make their way down to the ring. Fatu missed a moonsault on Andrade. Melo, though, hit nothing but net on Fatu. So Fatu, he lands, right? Misses the moonsault, does like a belly flop. And as he's trying to get back up, that's when Hayes comes off the top rope with the nothing but net. But then Andrade and Melo end up trading a bunch of pin attempts. And before long, all three men are down. We're 20 minutes into this match now. All three men are down. So Fatu hits a spike DDT on Andrade and follows that with a double jump moonsault. Solo Sikoa, though, hops up on the apron and he tells him to do it again. And JC Mateo is trying to call some shots now. He's up on the apron yelling at Fatu to do it. And out of nowhere, here's Jimmy Uso has arrived and he takes out JC Mateo. So amid all the chaos, I think Solo got knocked off the apron. But amid all the chaos, Hayes hits a first 48 to Fatu, which sends him out of the ring. But then Andrade drills Carmelo with the message, which is his finish, and he gets the pin. Easily the best thing on the entire show, despite the crowd's apathy for it. Andrade and Melo, we know the history between them. They worked a best-of-7 series against each other. These guys know each other very well. They've had very good matches before. They know how to work with one another. We knew that coming in. Then you drop in Jacob Fatu, and it's not like it's going to ruin the dynamic here. So he certainly, didn't hurt things adding him to the mix. Fatu and Money in the Bank would have made things a little more interesting, just because Solo Sikoa is already qualified, and he's already in the match. But it just felt like, it felt like the two of them would end up costing him the win here and preventing him from just qualifying at all, because Fatu didn't really need to be in that match. And also, like, it's kind of weird to say, like, oh, if Jacob Fatu's in Money in the Bank, he's not going to win. But that's how it felt. It felt like even if he qualified, they could play that story out, but like, he's not going to win. Would you be better off, using that spot for somebody else? That's why I was surprised they put Andrade in that match. Andrade's not winning Money in the Bank. He's in there to, do some spectacular moves. I think he'll thrive. I think he will help make that match better because Andrade's a great wrestler. But he's not going to win. Whereas if Carmelo Hayes would have won, then I think he would have had a real shot. And I have no reason to believe that based on the way he's been booked for the last year. But it just feels to me like a Money in the Bank win, despite all the booking, all the lackluster, mediocre booking of him over the last year. He wins Money in the Bank, everything changes. Everything changes because the majority of the people who win that briefcase do go on to cash in and win a world championship, right? Some of them don't. He could just as easily be one of the few who don't. But him winning Money in the Bank would have been like, okay, now we're finally kicking it into that next gear with this guy. And he takes the loss. So he can't even qualify to get into the Money in the Bank ladder match. That's sad. That's sad. Because honestly, of the three men involved in this match who I think could have benefited long-term, meaning not only to be in the match, but potentially win and see them carry through in the booking, I think Hayes has a much better chance than Andrade does. Although right now, I mean, they've really not been doing much of anything with either of them. But I think he would have had a better chance. But look, Andrade's in the match. I'm not, upset that he's in the match. I'm surprised. I was surprised to see him go over here. Now, on Monday, I mentioned that they filled most of the spots now in the men's Money in the Bank match, but not all of the spots. There is one spot left open, and that will be decided in a triple threat qualifying match coming up on Raw this Monday night involving CM Punk, AJ Styles, and my friend and yours, El Grande Americano. Yes. He's going to be in a Money in the Bank match. Boy, you know, Chad Gable was in a Money in the Bank match this week. Now El Grande Americano gets to be in a Money. It's like the three faces of Foley. He got 3 different spots in the same Royal Rumble match. Actually sounds like a hell of a match, honestly. Punk, Styles, and Americano. By the way, that's as close as you're ever going to get. Those of you who have been waiting to see CM Punk and AJ Styles like it's some kind of dream match, this is probably the closest you will ever get to it. It'll be as part of a triple threat match on Monday night. And with Seth Rollins already being in Money in the Bank, there is no reason to think that anybody but CM Punk should win this match. Otherwise, CM Punk has no match at Money in the Bank, and you probably want him on the card. So that should be a win for CM Punk on Monday. Although I'm loving this music, so I would love, you know, for Grande Americano to have a spot in that match, but I don't know. You know what that means, though? Who is not in a Money in the Bank qualifying match? Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross did not even get a qualifying match. Unless something happens with Americano. Maybe he gets bounced. Something happens on Monday. Maybe Kross takes his spot. Probably not, though. Anyway, we go back to the locker room area, and Jacob Fatu is fuming mad. This man is raging, and he is wrecking everything at his pace. He's overturning furniture. He's throwing things around. Solo Sikoa appears, and he says, "Look, I was just trying to help." And Fatu said that for the last time, "I don't need your help." And he stormed off. Yes, We the One says Chad Gable already on World's End. Well, it's not World's End, but it's Worlds Collide, but you are correct. So we know Americano is not qualifying, and let's be honest here. Do you really think that AJ Styles is going to win a big match? Let alone over CM Punk? It's kind of obvious what the finish is going to be. But yes, Chad Gable has a match against Vikingo, the AAA Mega Champion, who has not yet won the Mega Championship, but within the next 24 hours, I believe today, Saturday, he is scheduled to wrestle Alberto Del Dipshit for that championship, and he will be winning that championship. Byron Saxton was in the back to interview LA Knight. Knight talked about how he punched his ticket to Money in the Bank, said that if it was a one-on-one match, he would call his shot. But he understands now because this will be his 3rd Money in the Bank match. And he said it's anybody's game. But, and before he could finish his thought, Aleister Black interrupted. He walked into frame, said the win that LA Knight got was partially his. But you're welcome. And that was it. Imagine like flying all the way into Knoxville. I don't know where Aleister lives. And I'm assuming he didn't have a dark match tonight. Maybe he did. Maybe he was on. Maybe they did the main event taping and he wrestled there. Let's assume he didn't, though. Like, imagine just you fly all the way into Knoxville and you're at the building all day long, and they say, "Okay, here's what you're going to do on the show tonight," and it's literally 10 seconds in the back, just saying to LA Knight, "You're welcome," and then walking away, and then you get to fly home. I guess not a bad gig, but I mean, that wouldn't even get me out of bed. It's got to be more to it than that for this guy. Then they close the show with the Cody Rhodes. Well, there he is. The Dre. Just subscribe. You have impeccable timing, Dre. I was just about to talk about this man. No, not this man.
Shut the fuck up.
Not this man.
fuck that tree.
Not this man. I'm talking about the other man. They closed the show with Cody Rhodes and John Cena in a face-off. That's what they advertised for tonight. And this was Cody's first appearance on SmackDown since before WrestleMania. So he reappeared on Saturday to make the save for Jey Uso at the end of the show when John Cena came out to attack Jey Uso. So now at Money in the Bank, it's going to be John Cena and Logan Paul as tag team partners taking on Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, who are former Raw tag team champions. Cody talked about going home after WrestleMania and drowning his sorrows away with some Tennessee cough syrup. He's talking about some of that Southern comfort, aren't you? Yeah. Not bad. I've done that a few times myself. No shame in that. So after WrestleMania, he had actually that should have been a plug for his Wheatley vodka, not the Tennessee cough syrup. Wheatley, so good I drink it neatly. Hey, you know what? Hey, Cody doesn't have to be the only sponsor. I'm just saying. So after WrestleMania, he had a moment of doubt, and he reached out to a friend, and he asked that friend if he was a good champion. Was I a good champion? And Cody said the answer was not as simple as yes or no. He said the person told him that after everything he faced in the ring and everything that he had to navigate behind the scenes, yes, he was a good champion. Cody said he thought about the final boss. We got a Rock mention on this show. All the conspiracy theorists are going to have a field day with that one. Maddie says libations. Yes, I'm surprised he didn't say that. Libations. Cody was taking some time off to have some libations on the bus. But he said he thought about the final boss wanting his soul and how scary it was that he was serious. And Cody said he thought about John Cena, which led to dueling chants here from the crowd. Cody said Cena gave him a chance at WrestleMania and he hesitated. He said that he wanted to say it to Cena's face, but he didn't know if he was going to come out here or not. But he said he will never hesitate again. So Cody apologized to the fans, saying it was his first night back on SmackDown. He got all worked out. He was sweating bullets out here. I don't know if it was hot in the building or if he was just nervous. This man was like, his forehead was glistening here. It looked like he was sweating bullets out there. And he said he was thinking about what he could do for the fans when he came back, and he mentioned maybe a surprise. And so the yeet chants began, and Cody said the fans seemed hungry. Maybe they should yeet. Uh-oh. Cody Rhodes with a Duff's Vids and Sidro joke. He's getting in on the party here. Oh, man. Hey, Jedi Joker, welcome, brother. I'm glad you could be here live. Cody is being influenced by Sidro and Duff's Vids. This is a very bad thing. But anyway, if you're hungry, you should yeet, he said. And he said that would be a big surprise, wouldn't it? And then he introduced the World Heavyweight Champion and his partner at Money in the Bank, Jey Uso. And Jey Uso made his entrance through the crowd, and he yeeted with some young children. You know, in some states, yeeting with young children could get you 10 to 15 years. But they went to commercial. They come back from commercial. Jay's in the ring, and he calls for an encore. So they play his music again for a little bit, and he gets up on the ropes, and he continues yeeting. Somebody in the chat, I forgot who it was, earlier in the night before I went live, somebody made a comment like, boy, you know, with all the yeeting at these shows, I hope all these wrestling fans use deodorant. I'm not sure about that. If you've been to wrestling shows, like I've been to wrestling shows in the past, and it was pretty clear that they had not. So now you have the fans every single week. They're just, you know, they're going up and down like this, throwing their arms up in the air. It's a good question. I hope so. I hope they are. He called, so the WWE champion, John Cena, comes out. Doesn't even give Jey Uso a chance to speak, which after that promo on Monday was probably a good idea. So John Cena's music hits. Out to the ring he comes. He demands a microphone. And he calls Cody and Jay pro wrestling's biggest wannabes. They want to be him so bad, it makes him sick. They want his fame and his money, and they will get neither because they are too desperate and too lazy. There is one other human being in WWE, though, who embodies hustle, loyalty, and respect. He's got the fortune, the fame, and the followers to back that up. Surprise, losers. My partner for Money in the Bank is here as well. And at that point, they hit Logan Paul's music. So he joined John Cena in the ring. And Cena said the fans are mad because Logan does WWE better than any professional wrestler. Logan Paul does not need to pay his dues because Logan Paul is paying your mortgage, he said, as he looked at Cody and Jay. Everybody in this building did not come to see Cody and Jay. They came to see John Cena, and they cheered. Fans mostly cheered for that. And Logan Paul. And then they booed. So now it was Logan's turn to talk. And he asked Knoxville, "What are you crying about?" He could walk on water, and they would still find a way to tell him that it's because he can't swim. John Cena speaks the language of Logan Paul, and that is the truth. He says, "Look around you, stupid, simple Tennessee people. This is a moment in history. They all get to witness the moment that John Cena stood side by side with Logan Paul." He's talking about themselves like they're the mega powers coming together. They should come up with a handshake. And all of us will live long, pathetic, miserable lives, but at least we will get to say that we saw that. There is one problem, though. He should be standing next to the WWE champion as a WWE champion. He should be standing here as the World Heavyweight Champion after Saturday night's main event. But Jay got lucky, and Jay needed Cody Rhodes to come save him. These two Nepo babies were born on third thinking that they hit a triple, which was a good line. I like that line. He called himself and Cena self-made men. 5 years ago, nobody ever would have believed that Logan Paul would be a WWE superstar. And they certainly never would have believed that he would be teaming with the greatest of all time. But look at him now. He is the superstar in WWE. His time is now. Cena has told the world that his time is almost up. He's the last real champion. He is the inevitable face of the company. So next weekend at Money in the Bank, Cody, Jay, if you want some, come get some. So Jay told them that they don't need to wait for Money in the Bank. They could handle this right now. And Cena wanted to go leave. Logan stopped him. But when Logan stopped him, I won't say he hit Cena, but he kind of, violently is not the right word, but he did touch Cena. He put his hands on Cena's shoulder and abruptly stopped him in a way that got Cena's attention. And Cena stared him in the face. And there was this moment of tension here, teasing some tension between these two men. Cody takes note of this, and Cody says, "What are you guys arguing about?" Goes, "What are you going to go back there and polish his peacemaker?" And those were fighting words. And so at that point, Cena and Logan charged. We had a brawl. Cena got Cody up for an attitude adjustment, but he ate a super kick from Jay and then a disaster kick from Cody. Cena ended up outside. So Jay took him out with a springboard crossbody block. In the ring, Logan tried his snapshot lariat, which is what they call it now. Cody ducked it, Logan ate a super kick, and then Jay held Logan for Cody to hit a Cody cutter, and they called it the Cody. Get it? It's not the 1D. It's not the 3D. It's the Cody. Yes, it's the Cody. You know what it reminds me of? When Cody and Jay were tag team champions 2 years ago, there was an episode of Busted Open, I think, where Bully Ray, he ranted. He just ranted about them using what I think he said. What did he call it? Like a bootleg 3D. Like, never do that again, because he said it just looked terrible. Like, they should stop doing it. This one actually looked good. I'll say that. They did the 3D or 1D or whatever the fuck they want to call it, but this one at least looked like it connected good. And the show closed with Cody and Jay posing in the ring, Jay with his World Heavyweight Championship, and Cody was holding up John Cena's WWE title. those last 25 minutes or so of the show woke the crowd up from its slumber. I will say that. And it was a hot segment to close things out. You know, the fans were into it. Logan gets great heat. He always does. Cena always gets a big reaction, usually mixed. Tonight, I noticed more positive than negative, but it was still mixed. And I said it at the beginning of the review, you know, it's quite clear to me that one of the goals here is to make sure that John Cena is booed as much as possible by associating him with a man who already gets nuclear heat from the audience whenever he's out there, because the people do not like Logan Paul. So by associating them and having them as tag team partners, they're trying to make absolutely sure that when Cody comes out, Cody and Jay, they get exactly the reaction that they're supposed to get. And I don't think it's a big deal because Cody's going to get a positive reaction. I don't think they think that without Logan, Cody's going to get booed out of the building. But again, I point out to you those last few weeks, and I think it started with the international tour, which is also around the time that people started booing Bianca Belair for no logical reason. And then it just carried over once they came back to the States. But that was the first time I can remember Cody getting any kind of real noticeable audible boos from the crowds. Because you had John Cena, who is in his retirement year, and you could turn him heel, and he can go out there and cut promos on the fans. But it doesn't matter because it's still John Cena. He's one of the biggest stars in the history of the company. And it's his final year. And every city he goes to is, in most cases, the last time you will be able to see him in that particular city. And at the time, he was trying to win record-setting number 17. So he had all of these things going on. You're just not going to be able to avoid that there are going to be people who love Cody, but they don't love him enough where they wanted to see him win. They wanted to see John Cena win. And then you also have people who probably were getting sick of Cody because he had been champion for about a year. But you got to be very careful here. It's like you don't want to put him in a situation because he is the face of the company. He is going to get that win back from John Cena at some point. And you don't want to put him in a situation where all of a sudden the boo birds are out and they think that's the thing to do now. Maybe he's the one now getting, you know, let's go Cody, Cody sucks chance, which was never the case before. This is a smart way to ensure that, you know, Cena and his team are going to get maximum heat at Money in the Bank. Jay is super fucking over right now. Everyone loves to yeet. Everybody does the entrance, you know. Everybody loves Jay. Not everybody, but, you know, when the WWE crowds do. And Cody is also beloved by the crowd. So I'm sure that that is certainly not going to be an issue for them next weekend. We had got a little tease here of some issues between Cena and Logan. We'll see if they give us another one or they expand on that at Money in the Bank. If there's a miscommunication, if something happens during the match, is Cena going to have another fleeting moment of clarity before he comes to his senses and stays heel? I feel like we're going to see more moments like that, where he'll at least tease like maybe he's reverting back to the John Cena of old, and then he doesn't. You know, maybe they do something like that in the tag match. I do wonder if Seth Rollins doesn't win Money in the Bank and then cash in on Jay, you know, on Raw that Monday, and Jay is still the World Heavyweight Champion at the end of next month. I do wonder if the plan is to do champion against champion and do Cena, not title for title, but just do champion against champion with Cena and Jey Uso at Night of Champions, because they have that show coming up in Saudi Arabia on the 28th. And I'm sure Cena's going to be on the show. I mean, he probably is already being advertised for it. I do wonder if that's going to be the match. We may get Jey Uso and John Cena one-on-one. I hope not. I just don't like that match. I think that as a match, oh my God. I mean, honestly, as a match, that sounds fucking terrible. But I also I don't see what would be accomplished by it. So I really hope that's not the direction they go in. But I don't know. I feel like there's a decent chance that we may be getting that. And then as far as Cena and Cody goes, question then becomes, when do you do Cena and Cody? Now, there's been a lot of chatter about Saturday night's main event, and they're going to load that show up all in weekend, right? They're going to go all in on that show. And we already know that most likely Bill Goldberg is going to have his retirement match on that show. They're in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta also, right? Very near and dear to Cody Rhodes. That is Cody country. Would they do John Cena and Cody in a WrestleMania rematch on Saturday night's main event? I believe they would. I hope they don't, but I believe they would. The reason I say that is because of just the unbelievable number of commercial breaks that we were assaulted with on the last episode. So doing Cody and Cena, on Commercial Mania, it isn't very appealing to me. I would rather it just be a SummerSlam match. It's big enough to be a SummerSlam match, unless they want to go with Cena and Punk at SummerSlam, which honestly, I would take that. As if there was a choice between Cena and Cody or Cena and Punk, I would do Cena Punk at SummerSlam and save the title change with Cody for a little later on. Cena and Punk is the match I want to see. Cody and Cena is inevitable. Punk and Cena, there's still something there between them, and we have to get it before Cena turns babyface. So I don't know when they're going to plan on doing that match. Could be Saturday night's main event. We'll find out soon enough. As far as SmackDown tonight, solid show overall. Not a great show. Solid show with a hot closing segment. The men's Money in the Bank qualifier was very good. The tag team match was very good. The rest of it just felt like filler. And it was something that it hit me, we're just going to have to get used to it. Because this show is not going to be 2 hours again for the foreseeable future. 3 hours is here to stay. And that's not going to change. So all we can hope is that they can come up with compelling stories and compelling matches and find a way to format the show where they can, keep it really interesting each of those 3 hours without hitting a wall where it feels like, okay, man, we're dragging now. Oh my God, there's 45 minutes left in this fucking show. That's on them. That's on them to format the shows in a way that can not feel like they're dragging. I don't know with the way that SmackDown is right now, how they can change that. But they make too much money, and USA's numbers are such that they're in the business of 3 hours, and that's just how it is. Unfortunately, there are weeks where you feel every bit of those 3 hours. I definitely felt it tonight. Let's take a look at the Twitter poll. What did you think of the Raw after Saturday night's main event? That is definitely not the poll. Let me go pull the the current poll, which evidently did not copy over the old poll. Here it is. All right, let's paste this in here so you guys can see it. Well, anyway, if you wanted to know the final results of the Raw poll from Monday, there it is right there. 73.6% thumbs up, 26.4% thumbs down. All right, let's update this. Here's the SmackDown poll. Here we go. There it is. What did you think of SmackDown from Knoxville? A little lower than Raw. 62.3% thumbs up, 37.7% thumbs down. There you go. Still an overall positive score, just not quite as positive as Raw. Thought I was losing my mind there. I said Raw. What is that poll still doing there? I love Friday Night Raw. I think I would take Friday Night Raw over Friday Night SmackDown on most weeks. I think there's a lot of people in the chat that would probably agree with me. All right, we got a bunch of messages to get into here. And we got 2 rounds of Be the Booker, and these messages, super chats are still coming in, which is awesome. I appreciate that. I had quite the ordeal yesterday. It was in.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh no, it's messed up again. Fuck that tree. What has happened there to the learning tree? When I switch over to this scene, it's all deformed and stuff. It sounds weird. Good. It sounds like the learning tree is being murdered when that happens. laggy super chat. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Very strange. All right, let's go get through your super chats here. We are going to start with terrible dried chicken without flavor, which is the worst kind of chicken that you could have. The chances of Vince McMahon trying to buy back WWE is when pigs fly or cows stand on 2 feet. Yeah, I think what some people need to do is stop listening. Oh my god.
Shut the fuck up.
Fuck that tree. Thank you, Havili. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. I think some people need to stop paying attention to certain people on social media, is what I think. In my opinion, he says both Triple H and Shawn Michaels will definitely have a strong match card for the Evolution PLE. Chef Michaels will add some flavor, he says. Prince Vegeta. What 3 Tribal Chief Roman Reigns championship matches would you have liked Prime Jim Ross to call? All of them. Well, I mean, look, the Roman match with Cody at WrestleMania 40 with that big closing moment and all the cameos we got, Prime Jim Ross would have thrived. I mean, how fucking great would Prime Jim Ross have been on the call for that match? I said it was like the Avengers Endgame of WrestleMania main events. So that would be one. Maybe the Clash of the Castle match that he had with Drew, maybe in 2022. And if I had to pick one more, maybe Roman and Sammy in Montreal at the Elimination Chamber with that hot crowd. Those might be the ones. Holiday 197, hey Solo, we need some creative storylines for Raw and SmackDown. They need to try some new things and experiment in this quieter post-WrestleMania period. They will not experiment. You will get what they give you, and you will like it. I agree, though. It would be nice if they shook things up a little bit. Thank you, Holiday. Terrible Dried Chicken says WWE should bring back a classic title and rename it the WWE World Lightweight Championship. Too many titles. Who cares? Yeah. Well, a terrible idea from Terrible Dried Chicken without flavor. It tracks. It's a bad idea. Don't do that. Also, Cena and Travis Scott against Cody and Metro Boomin. Oh, God. Saturday night's main event. So we're just going to have Cena teaming with random people his next few matches. Holiday says, I think triple threat matches were introduced in WWE in the late 90s. Which 3 wrestlers in the 80s, early 90s, would you have liked to have seen compete? In a triple threat match? Oh, wow. I mean, Randy Savage would be in there for sure. Could throw Ricky Steamboat in there because he was floating around in 87, 88. Savage, Steamboat, and Kurt Hennig. Mr. Perfect. That would have been pretty badass. Terrible Dried Chicken. I know 3 hours of SmackDown is too long, but since they are staying 3 hours, the WWE creative team better step up their game. Keep everybody awake. They don't give a shit. They had 14,000 people in the building tonight. They have no incentive to change. Joseph Stewart, rest in peace, Loretta Swit. MASH is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It was also one of my grandfather's favorite TV shows. Yeah, my parents watched MASH. I think she was 87 years old. Died of natural causes. Luis Lopez, this John Cena heel turn has to be the most disappointing storyline since the Invasion angle. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Also, Joseph Stewart is with us tonight. When do you expect to see Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six back in the ring since they are back? Dude, I wish I could tell you. I have no idea. They did the same thing this week they did last week. We got a little quick video. We'll probably get a few more videos. Maybe we'll get them in the ring maybe in a month. I have no idea. Also, were you a fan of MASH, the TV show? I was not, no. Joseph Stewart, do you remember WCW Mayhem, the music album? No, I don't. No. They had a video game named Mayhem, though, didn't they? Pay-per-view and a video, I think a video game. Do you remember the Pie song that The Rock sung on WWF The Music Volume 5? Yes. I listened to that Pie song more times than I care to admit. And by the way, if you go back and listen to that song, that song would not go over well today. You will not hear that song ever again on WWE television. MGM Ballin, praying for a Knicks win tomorrow. If we reach the bonus Be the Booker, I'll feel good about their chances. Well, not to be superstitious or anything, but we hit the goal like an hour ago. So it should be a rout for the Knicks tomorrow night. I hope so, man. I got my fingers crossed. Nick Grasso, with Mariah May all but confirmed to be WWE bound, does she go to NXT first? If so, maybe she takes the women's title from JC Jane and becomes the new leader of Fatal Influence. I could dig that. I actually think that'd be a great idea. I don't think that Mariah May needs to be rushed to the main roster right away, especially because they just called up a lot of women. That's the only thing. They called up Stephanie. They called up Julia. They're probably going to call up Jordan Grace. I think the best thing to do if she's coming in, let's say in the next couple of months, is to send her to NXT, strap her up, put the championship on her, and let her have a solid run down there for 6 months. You know, I wouldn't keep her down there for probably a year or more than that, but I just think with the number of women that they are calling up right now, that probably would be the best thing to do with her. Let her be the queen of NXT for a while. Mariah May is going to be huge in WWE. Nick Grasso, with Mariah May all but confirmed. Well, Nick, okay, it's appearing twice here, Nick. So nice, I had to say it twice. Thank you, Nick. Zachary Black with a $30 Mentos Super Chat. Does Seth cash in on John Cena later this year? No. I don't believe so. And he says, hello, Solo. Hello, Zachary. Thank you for the support, brother. It means a lot. Ragnarok. Happy Friday. Brother Solo, happy Friday. Buy or sell, who would have had the better career if they hadn't fucked up? Mr. Kennedy or Velveteen Dream? I think that the sky was the limit for Velveteen Dream. I really do. So, of the two, I would probably say Velveteen Dream, but Kennedy really got fucked over, though. He really did. That misdiagnosis of, I think it was a bicep injury that ended up being not as serious as they thought. I mean, if they keep the briefcase on him, he cashes in, he becomes world champion. There's no way that he cashes in Money in the Bank and doesn't win one of the world championships. And if that happens, you know, who knows where his career goes from there. But I feel like Velveteen Dream had the potential to be something really special had things gone differently. Number 1, Homo sapien. Where would you find a cow with no legs? Right where you left him. I'm reading a book about anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down. Very good, very good, very good. Very good. Arabian Night 2000. Ah, there he is on screen. There's Mr. Kennedy. And that Jeff Hardy is creepy. Look at that. Arabian Night, after that final Money in the Bank qualifier was announced with Punk, AJ, and El Grande, all hope is lost for Cross and his momentum. He's finished. Big fumble by Triple H. I don't know why you would fumble the momentum that this man has built up. If there's a vision here, I'm not seeing it. I'm still keeping an open mind that maybe there's some grand plan here, but it's not looking good. Anobi. Well, SmackDown will be 3 hours long for the foreseeable future. At least we have Friday night Solomonster. Yes. No matter what, you have Friday night Solomonster. So you have no reason to worry. Sidro. With 11 months of channel membership. Is May still owning the leaderboard? I haven't even checked. Let me take a look here at who's leading the way with experience points. Wow, May's with the crown on the community leaderboard right now with 500 XP. Quizzical one with 425 XP, and then BlissFan is number 3 right now, 375. So that's what the community board looks like right now. Wow. Sidro says, I like to sing in the car, but only when going in reverse. I'm a backup singer. And someone ripped 5th month out of my calendar. I'm completely dismayed. Dismayed, get it? Because they ripped May out of the calendar? Thank you, Sidro. Nick Grasso with the $9.99. After watching Dark Side of the Ring, I really feel bad for Mark Copani. He was fired for doing what he was told. What a dick move by Kurt Angle for setting him up like he did. Yeah, you know, when that episode was over, it just felt like this guy really got jobbed out through no fault of his own. I will do a review, not this weekend. I'll work on a review next week for the following week's Sound Off. Now that the season is over, there's no rush. So I'll be doing a review at some point on the Muhammad Hassan episode. This weekend, it's all about Daphne. You'll get my full thoughts on the Daphne episode and everything that happened with her. So it's heavy stuff, but I hope you guys will tune in for that. Mr. Rod with a $10 super chat says, SmackDown staying at 3 hours is highly unnecessary. In the words of Ron Simmons, damn. Well, USA Network thinks it's pretty damn necessary for themselves. Sidro with a $12 super chat. Friend texted me. He says, I burnt my pizza, my beer is frozen, and my girl just told me she's pregnant. I said, damn, bro, congrats, but you can't pull anything out in time, can you? I think he blocked me. I would too. Tonga Loa Superfan with a $10 super chat. You once said you could Tonga Loa as president of WWE. I'll take it one step forward and say it's not outside the realm of possibility he becomes the president of the USA. Brother.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, hey, it's working normally again.
Fuck that tree.
The learning tree has been restored. Tonga Loa Superfan, in today's world, I don't think that you're wrong. Anything's possible. Maybe I'll run for president one day. Every day will be the Booker Day. That'll be my whole platform. Brother Fluff Salisbury, it's been 14 years. Why has little Jimmy not gotten any taller? Yeah, he never really hit his growth spurt. Why is he still little after so long? Is he? Well, I don't get it. That's true. I never really thought about that. Sidro, a mummy covered in chocolate and nuts has been discovered in Egypt. Archaeologists believe it may be Pharaoh Rocher. Pharaoh Rocher, my God. Pharaoh Rocher. Oh my God. President Solomonster. See, yeah, Brian thinks President Solomonster has a good ring to it. I do too. Arabian Night kind of intrigued on how AEW manages these 4-hour shows. No way it's worse than these 3-hour SmackDowns. I don't know, at least AEW has less commercials and a full roster to use. Yeah, that's going to be ridiculous too, these next 2 weeks. 4 hours of AEW on Wednesdays. My hope is that Dynamite stays as Dynamite and 10 to 12 is Collision as Collision normally would be, and they don't, you know, take the key match of the night and leave it for the very end. Because I'd like to go live my normal time. You know, that's the plan right now as far as Wednesday goes. I do not want to sit through 4 hours of AEW on a Wednesday night. Brandon Proctor with the $21. SmackDown staying 3 hours is upsetting. I don't even watch it. I just feel bad for you having to watch it every week. Also, Mello always miss. I've heard you say you think Naomi wins Money in the Bank for the women. What about the men? I said Naomi is in the conversation. Assuming she qualifies, would love to see Stephanie win. On the men's side, I'm going to do my Money in the Bank predictions on Sunday's podcast. So I would advise you to tune in for that. Not that there are so many matches announced, but we'll be doing that on the podcast this weekend. That'll be episode 915. Zizu, 36 months of channel membership, says 36 months is a crazy amount of time. Thanks for everything you do. It is a crazy amount of time. You're part of an elite club there, my friend. Eventually, you'll graduate to that blue skull. Duff's Vids is with us tonight. Duff's Vids with a $4.99. What's the difference between an outlaw and an in-law? An outlaw is wanted. That is a quality joke right there. An outlaw is it's an outlaw, by the way. Sidro, cowboys would hang a lantern on their saddles at night so they could find the trail when they were far from home. This was early satellite navigation. God. Zizu, thank you for gifting 2 channel memberships. That's 2 more members now, part of our community. I like seeing these gifted memberships. This is great. Giving the gift of the sound off. What better gift could one give? Ross Lawman, I've booked holiday from UK to San Francisco for 10 days this summer. Least all in will be earlier. That's true, actually. On the West Coast, all in, what's that going to be? A noon start if you're on the West Coast? Wonder if I'm going to find myself a woman. If you know, you know. Oh, I know. Every time I come across that promo, cracks me up every time. Looking for a woman. Little baby fire panda, thank you. Wow, look at this. If that doesn't deserve a siren, I don't know what does. $51 super chat. We won, boys. King of the Hill is back. Starting August 4th on Hulu. Are we going to get King of the Hill reviews, Solomonster? Fire Panda, I'm very sorry to tell you this, but I never watched King of the Hill. I was a Beavis and Butthead guy as far as the animated shows in the 90s, but I was not a King of the Hill guy. Because that was also Mike Judge, right? Yeah, I mean, I know who Hank Hill is. I'm aware of it. I just never watched it. Should I? Yeah, I know. Look at it. He's shocked. I know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I guess you might say, that boy ain't right. But I didn't watch it. I'm sorry. Futurama. No, I didn't watch Futurama either. Prince Vegeta 95. Have you ever seen True Detective? If not, I highly recommend season 1. It is one of the best seasons of television that I have ever seen. That is no, it's not the. I did watch season 2. But yes, I did watch season 1. And it was great. But I did things in reverse. I watched season 2 first. Season 2 was the one with oh God. Vince Vaughn. Right? I watched that first. And I enjoyed that. But then I watched season 1 and it was like, wow. Clearly we know what the better of the two seasons is. I didn't watch season 3. Matt Fisher, no message, just showing some love with a $25 super chat. Matt, thank you very much. Bobby Means, 15 months of channel membership. I think Naomi winning Money in the Bank sets up some very intriguing possibilities. Tiffany against Naomi could be money. Rhea and Bianca at Evolution 2 is possible. Yeah, absolutely. They could do that match at Evolution for sure. Season 5 of season 5 of what? True Detective? They came out with a 5th season of True Detective? I didn't know that. Boots. $20 super chat. Should we start a petition to have USA Network give the Chrisley family a show in exchange for 2 hours of SmackDown? There are lines even I am not willing to cross. Let's not give them any ideas. Matt Fisher, so when can we get FTR back as the Revival? I want to see them against the Guns. You're never getting them back as the Revival. They're going to retire as FTR. Terrible dried chicken. Without flavor. It's the good son scenario. Save one, let the other one go. Ricochet or Ethan Page? I am saving Ricochet, and I am letting Ethan Page go. Jeremy Rose, what do you think about the last Money in the Bank qualifier without Cross? Very disappointed because Punk, AJ, or Grande doesn't bring any intrigue to the match. CM Punk doesn't bring any intrigue into the match. I mean, he's only the biggest star on the brand, right? Or second biggest, depending on how big of a Jey Uso fan you are. It's disappointing, but I mean, let's not pretend that, we're surprised why they would have CM Punk in that match. He makes a lot more sense than Karrion Kross does. It's too bad they couldn't work him into that match or another qualifier last week in some way. It's lame. It's just lame. He bounces around in backstage segments and doesn't do anything. And, it's just mind-boggling to me. Kenny Clifford, channel member. Looks like a brand new channel member. Hey, Kenny, what's going on, man? Boots with a $20 super chat. Hey, there's Asuka. Where's Asuka, man? Asuka's been gone forever. Where is she? Buy or sell. Charlotte goes into a downward spiral and becomes a sad sack character, kind of like bum-ass Corbin. Alexa can then bring her into the Wyatt Six. I have no interest in seeing Charlotte in the Wyatt Six, but I'm all for a downward spiral. I think that would make her character far more interesting. Jeremy Rose went to SmackDown. Good energy. Phoenix and Javon were awesome. Jacob and Truth got huge pops. That last segment had electricity for both heel and face. Yeah, I mean, the last 25 minutes of the show was very hot. It was the loudest it was all night. So I'm glad you had fun, Jeremy. Broly with the $4.99. Stephanie winning and cashing in ahead to get Io versus Vaquer at Evolution. Also Jordan versus Julia for the US title. What do you do with Rhea? I keep Rhea out of the title picture for a while. I think I give other people chances. Rhea's over no matter what she does. So just figure out, where she fits in the show against somebody in the absence of a championship. Obviously not Liv, because we've already done that. But just, again, come up with an interesting story for her and somebody else, whoever that may be. But I don't think it has to involve a title for a while. I say keep her away from the championships for a little bit, and then you could always come back to it. Give other people a chance. She's over without the belt. Havili with the $13 super chat. I always wondered, was Miz versus Ambrose the original plan for WrestleMania 33, besides the mixed tag match with Cena and Nikki? Cena and Ambrose? Miz and Ambrose? Was there something that was done on TV to indicate that Miz and Ambrose was a direction? I don't remember that. I don't think so. Who should have been WWE champion? Mr. Kennedy, Shelton Benjamin, Wade Barrett, Finlay, William Regal, or Cody Rhodes? Cody Rhodes was WWE champion. You're talking about back then, Mr. Kennedy. Broly, assuming Mariah is in MR. Oh, main roster. Who's her first feud with? So people are already booking Rhea Ripley against Mariah May, and Mariah May against Charlotte Flair, Mariah May against all these top names. Who is her first main roster feud with? I don't know. I haven't even really given it a lot of thought yet. I mean, this news is still fresh. Came out this morning. That she apparently is WWE bound for sure. You're going to get all the inevitable ones, though. You're going to get her and Tiffany. You're going to get her and Bianca. At some point, you'll get her and Becky. We're gonna see all of it. What the first one is going to be? Let's assume she's a heel. Because we don't know, right? But we're assuming maybe that she'll be a heel and not a babyface. And then you look at the babyface side. I wouldn't feud her with somebody coming in that she's gonna lose to. So it has to be somebody they're comfortable having her beat, which is not going to be a Rhea Ripley or a Charlotte Flair, so you can rule them out. But I'm not going to debut her against fucking Michin either. So I don't know. I mean, who would I put with Mariah May? It's a good question. I don't know. I have to think about that. Jeremy Rose, so is Miz putting Melo over going to get him on track? No. Melo beating Miz is not going to do shit for Carmelo Hayes. So this is a gigantic waste of time. Skywalker, who would win 100 Gorillas or 1992 Hulk Hogan in a battle royal? Well, you see, the Gorillas would throw Hogan out of the ring, but then Hogan, the sore loser that he is, would reach up and pull the Gorillas out of the ring. So neither would win. Whoever's left in the ring after Hogan pulls them out would be the winner. The Tonga Loa hater. I hate the Wheatley commercial more than Tonga Loa. You hate the Wheatley commercial. Wheatley, so good I drink it neatly. Oh, Bailey. Yeah, I hadn't thought about Bayley. Mariah May and Bayley. The Bayley fans aren't going to like that, though. They use Bayley as like a gatekeeper. That's basically the role Sheamus is in now. He's sort of the gatekeeper of the main roster. Havili. If The Rock did not get injured against John Cena at WrestleMania 29, would the chance of us getting the rubber match at SummerSlam 2013 or WrestleMania 30? I guess he means, what are the chances? The chances are no, because their feud was over at that point. What we were going to get at WrestleMania 30 was The Rock against Brock Lesnar. They were going to shoot the angle for it on the Raw after WrestleMania 29, which is the same night Dolph Ziggler cashed in his Money in the Bank on Alberto. They were going to end the show with Brock injuring Rock to set the match up a year in advance. Rock got injured, and the idea never happened. And he says here, favorite Limp Bizkit songs that WWE use: My Way, Rollin', or Crack Addict? I like the Crack Addict song they used for WrestleMania 19. But I mean, I think of My Way, I think of the video package and the hype for Austin and Rock at WrestleMania 17. To me, that can't be beat. Oz and Glorious is laughing at this dog shit. Trash company showcasing Logan Paul, Pat McAfee, and Travis Scott. When does Andrew Tate debut and win a title? Much love, Solo. Don't give them any ideas. TKO thought they could make money off it. They would do it in a heartbeat. Havili, thought of Stephanie Vaquer has moved to Raw. Could you see her winning the Money in the Bank and cashed it at Evolution and BDO Sky for the title? I could absolutely see her winning Money in the Bank. Stephanie is going to be a champion. It will not be very long before we get there. She's going to be a major player on that main roster in that Raw Women's division. You saw the way that Shawn Michaels booked her in NXT. I think Triple H sees the vision for her and the appeal that she has. And she absolutely can win Money in the Bank. And if she wins Money in the Bank, she wins whatever title she cashes in on. I could tell you that if Stephanie Vaquer wins Money in the Bank and cashes in her contract, she ain't losing. So she could pick whatever championship she wants to win. Havili. What is up, Solomonster? Who would have been the fifth member of Team Bianca for War Games if Dakota wasn't injured in 2023? I have no idea. Jeez, I have no idea. 2023 in War Games. I don't even remember the teams. I have no idea. If Charlotte wasn't injured, would she face Rhea or Io at WrestleMania 40? Well, you're assuming she would have fought either one of them. Rhea or Io? Io. I think Io. Arabian Night, Punk and Seth don't need Money in the Bank. Can we build new stars? Yeah, you could build new stars, but you don't have to build new stars every year in Money in the Bank. So if they have an idea for Seth Rollins, for example, and getting the World Heavyweight Championship on him vis-a-vis the briefcase, then I don't have an issue with that. But that was my thought process in wanting to see someone like Carmelo Hayes go to Money in the Bank, where, you know, I mean, I don't know how some people may not look at him as new. He is still pretty new. And that could have been something that would have benefited him, and he's not even in the match. So, realistically, dude, like, if you look at who's in the Money in the Bank match, LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, Seth Rollins, Penta, CM Punk's gonna end up in there. there isn't this wealth of new guys. Penta, who's 40 years old, believe it or not, Penta's in the match. He's still relatively new. Penta's not winning Money in the Bank. So if you're somebody who was hoping they would use the briefcase to elevate like a new guy, a young guy, this is not going to be the year for that. I hate to break it to you. Justin G sounded like the learning tree got the chainsaw. If only. Duff's Vids, you need a chainsaw sound effect for the learning tree. Boy, did you two guys conspire on those two super chats there? Groovy Goose, if only Ventura was at Hell in a Cell 2019 in the main event. Oh my god. I just remember Sean Waltman was doing a watch, like an official WWE watch along, and shit all over that finish. He didn't give a shit. He wasn't invited back after that for any more of them. But even he was appalled by the finish of that match. Havili, most likely of War Games, Cena, Rock, Rollins, Reed, and Breaker against Cody, Jay, Sammy, Roman, Punk, and Orton. Greatest... Dude. Okay, so that's the end of the first question. Most likely of War Games. Cena, Rock, Rollins, Reed, and Breaker against... Are you saying who do I think would win? Whatever team Rock is on. He ain't losing that. Greatest tag team that did not join WWE. I don't know, maybe the Midnight Express? Any of the versions of the Midnight Express. Midnights and Rock and Rolls are two of the greatest tag teams of all time. Rock and Roll Express, they did wrestle a little bit for WWE. I'm not aware of the Midnight Express ever wrestling for WWE. I mean, they would have to be pretty high up on the list. As far as other teams, I don't know. I mean, the Steiners were in. LOD was in. Harlem Heat. Harlem Heat never wrestled for WWE. What did they win? Like 10 or 11 tag team titles in WCW? Paul Carpenter. Rest in peace, Rick Derringer. Demolition, best song ever. Demolition, man. That song is a fucking banger. You give anybody that song today, and it's the best song in WWE today. All these years later. That song would still work. We got Jason with a $20 super chat. To Solo, I just told JD this, and I will tell you as well. You're doing yeoman's work, continuing the legacy of the great wrestling radio shows and hotlines of the 80s. Keep up the great work. Have a great weekend. Well, thank you, brother. I used to call some of those hotlines back in the day. My first appearances were actually calling into some college radio shows. In what year was it? 1998. That's as far back as my shows and appearances went. I was the wrestling correspondent who would call in, and we would talk wrestling, and I would give wrestling updates as far back as 1998. And then I did it some more in 2002. And then the sound off started in 2007. And here we are in 2025. Where does the time go? Where does it go? Havili, favorite WWE game, No Mercy or Shout You Mouth? God. But it says, I'm just reading it as it is written. That is what it says. No Mercy or Shout You Mouth. Everyone raves about No Mercy. I'm going to say No Mercy. Slow King says, I swear I was watching Solomonster on my Nintendo Wii. Brother, there were probably people watching me on their PS1. Justin G. GameCube, WWE Day of Reckoning 2. Did you play? I didn't have a GameCube, so I didn't play it. I have no thoughts. I didn't play it. Eminem, we're still growing the learning trees. With your sponsor of my bookie, we should book how much trees will grow next week. Yeah, what's the over-under on that? It says King of the Hill is coming on Hulu. Were you a fan, and what is your favorite episode? As I said before, I did not watch. So I have no favorite episodes. Creflo. Who do you have in the Champions League final tomorrow? PSG or Inter Milan? I'm going to go with Inter Milan. Also, why did Vaquer drop the title to JC rather than to Jordan? Because Jordan is also on her way up to the main roster. Among others. Boots. It's been 7 months since the last member-only content. You get content every week, brother. Man, you got access to all the emojis and everything. It's been a very busy time. I got to get back to that and do even more bonus content. So we will get back to that, but very, very busy. And by the way, all those Q&As are up. So even like newer members who are gifted memberships now or who are joining now, you have access to all that past content, including if you were on the Legends tier, which is the top tier. The first 13 or so far episodes of the Sound Off that I ever did are uploaded there. Can't find them anywhere else. They're no longer accessible unless you are a Legends tier member. And I have to get back to that as well. I got a laundry list of things to do. I got plans. The Juliet says, rest in peace, Loretta Swift. Is it Swift or Swit? I thought it was, I don't know. He said Swift, aka Hot Lips Houlihan. Arabian Night, like Theory, there's no hope for Melo in this company. Feels like it, doesn't it? It feels like it. Havili, I don't know if I asked you this before, but besides The Rock, Yoko, Roman, and Jay out from the Samoan Dynasty should have been WWE Championship. I mean, all of them have been world champion. The only one who hasn't been WWE champion is Jay, but he's the world heavyweight champion. So, I mean, he's saying besides The Rock, Yoko, Roman, and Jay. Okay, from the Samoan Dynasty, who should have been champion. Jacob Fatu should be, and I think he will be at some point. I don't know if there's anybody from the Samoan Dynasty who didn't win that should have. Like Rikishi was never a world champion, and that's the way it should have been. Beyond that, I don't know. I think everything worked out the way that it should have. Jacob will get there, though. Sidro with a $10 super chat. Did you know that it's illegal to laugh out loud in Hawaii? You have to keep to aloha. It's a very appropriate joke with this music playing in the background. I feel like I should be I should have a lay right now. And my kid bet me that he could pee into the toilet while doing a handstand. I'm like, buddy, urine over your head.
You suck.
Thank you, Sidro. Oz and Glorious buy or sell Richie April or a Ralph Cifaretto? Buy or sell on what? The biggest villain? The biggest asshole? I mean, Richie, man. I think I have to go Richie just because Ralph had his moments. Ralph had his moments where he would be funny. Richie Aprile had absolutely no redeeming qualities whatsoever. He was a complete, just a total piece of shit. And kind of scary, actually. In a way that Ralph wasn't. I got to buy on Richie. Kenny Clifford, I decided to show the other half of the Titans some love. What's up, Solo? Thank you, Kenny. You know, this side always likes some love. Are you going to abandon me? We're all feeling the love tonight. Thank you, Kenny. Tonga Loa superfan. Obviously, Tonga Loa's dad would be Secretary of Defense, and his brother would be press secretary. The real question is, who would be his running mate? Tonga Loa's running mate. I think it should be you, his biggest fan. You should be his running mate. Anobi. I had a thought about why Rhea Ripley being pushed so much lately. Triple H resembles Rhea. Triple H resembles... Up.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
The only thing better than one Mentos is two. That is our second Mentos drop of the night. Zachary. With the $30 super chat. I will get to yours in... This one came in, what, 12 minutes ago? Give me 5 minutes. I'll get to yours. Thank you, Zachary. I'm trying to figure out what Anobi is saying here. I had a thought about why Rhea is being pushed so much. Triple H, I think he means feels Rhea resembles China? Like the attitude, the clothes, and the physique. Yeah, well... I get what you're saying, but no. He recognizes how popular and how over she is, and appropriately, she is being pushed according to that level of popularity. There are a lot of similarities, though, in appearance between Rhea and China. Especially like the gear reminds me a lot of China. I don't think that's why Triple H is pushing her so hard, though. Blue Jay Ventura on the mic for Anarchy in the Arena. Just imagine. Oh my God. I think that would have been awesome. Ken Masters, Hadouken. Hey, Solo, I found out Bloodsport will be in Jersey the weekend of SummerSlam while teaching... is that Jiu-Jitsu? I think that says teaching Jiu-Jitsu tonight. Who do I need to speak to for a match with Suzuki? I don't run Bloodsport, so I don't know. I'm the wrong guy to ask for that. Devin from New Jersey, 2000. Solo, you should go back and collect all of the joke super chats and compile them into a joke book. The Solomonster laughs off. For Pro Wrestling Tees. There are no books on Pro Wrestling Tees. We have t-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. And of all the things on my to-do list that I'm behind on, compiling a super chat joke book is not something that fits into my schedule, unfortunately. But if I ever did that, I would have Sidro and Duff's Vids write the foreword of my book. Navy says, this summer, good old JR will be developing a new money transfer app similar to PayPal. It's called We're Live, Pal. Hey, we're live, pal. Then Sid's reaction is just always priceless to me. He'd probably make a lot of money off that too. We got Chris Manson with 49 months of channel membership. 10-year watch along for Bayley and Sasha Banks in Brooklyn. It's the greatest women's match of all time right there. I was very pleased to be at that show and just feel the energy of the crowd that night and be a part of history in that building. Sidro, if Prime JR called Mania 41, by God, they've assembled. Dusty's baby boy is gonna do it. P.S. You missed my newest track, tagged you a while back. I get a lot of tweets, Sidro. Tag me in it again. I'll try to take a look at it. And even the ones I don't comment on, I do listen to them, so don't be alarmed. Power Spy in Games. Speaking of Samoans, why isn't Umaga in Be the Booker? I believe he is. Is he not? I'll have to double check on that. I thought he was. Zachary Black, you have to at the very least watch the pilot for Futurama. If you don't like it after that, watch The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings episode. But I also understand if you can't find the time, it's time for a Mentos. It's always time for a Mentos. I'll try to look that up when I have a free moment. The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings. Tongaloa superfan, when in doubt in your life, always bet on Tongaloa. I live my life on this philosophy and it's never let me down before. So you're the one. Always bet on Tongaloa. I'd be a poor man if I did that. I'd be like bum-ass Corbin. I'd be living in a box at the end of the street. Aaron, did you hear about the woman who backed into an airplane propeller? Disaster. I don't know if you were telling a joke or if that's true. I have no idea. And Boots, do you know if Bret Hart is narrating his book? I haven't heard. For those of you who don't know, Bret's book, which is one of the best wrestling books out there, the audiobook version is dropping in July. So, by the way, if you haven't taken advantage of our Audible offer, audibletrial.com/Solomonster, that'll be a good one to get in on. You could probably, I don't know if it's up for pre-order yet, but that will be one to take advantage of. I haven't heard if Bret's the one. I mean, his book is long. I mean, that's a lot to ask of him if he was to do the voiceover in the narration for it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be Bret. And Havili. Let's just say WWE had done a forbidden PLE a couple of years back. Who would most likely have faced Okada? Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, or CM Punk? I think Randy Orton. Dropkick versus dropkick. Who has the better dropkick? I still say Okada. Today would definitely be Okada. He says, sorry, I meant shut your mouth. Thanks, Well, he's not insulting me. He's talking about the video game. Thanks, Solomonster, for everything. Havili, I know the language is sometimes a little fuzzy. I do my best. Sometimes we end up very entertained as I try to decipher the super chats. But I did understand what you meant. But yeah, I think it would have been Randy Orton and Okada, man. What a match that would have been, huh? That would have been something. Well, I have gone through all of your questions and all of your comments. Finally. That was a lot of good ones in there. Community leaderboard, still in the top spot, the one and only Maze the Great. 575 XP. He is reigning supreme. He's going to be a tough one to beat, I could tell. I can tell. Well, you guys earned it. You don't just get one round to be the booker. You get two because you unlocked 2 rounds of everybody's favorite segment. Let's close out the week the only way we know how and be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, yeah.
it is now time to be the booker.
Nobody books better than yours truly. Of course, I just jinxed it by saying that. Now I'll book a Tongaloa match. Here we go. Look at Maze. There he is. The king. The king is with us. He's got his crown on the leaderboard. All right, here we go. The British Bulldogs. Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid. The British Bulldogs are kicking us off. I'm sure some people listening to this right now, maybe their favorite tag team of all time. And they'll be taking on Proud and Powerful, LAX, call them whatever you want, Mike Santana and Ortiz. The Bulldogs and LAX. How's that for a tag team match? I got to applaud that one. That's how you start Be the Booker right there. LAX and the Bulldogs. All right, on the women's side, we have Lita. We have, or as Kane would say, Lita. Lita. Against Mariah May. We just mentioned her name. It's like, say her name and she appears. We were just talking about her. Mariah May is about to live her dream. Her dream has always been to work for WWE. She's about to live that dream. Make that money. Become an even bigger star. And men's Be the Booker. With the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, this may yet be the scene again in a couple of months. Hangman Adam Page, the winner of the 2025 Owen Hart Foundation tournament, is in the main event as he was on Sunday at Double or Nothing. He's in our main event tonight. Hell yeah. Hangman Page. Against the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Sonata. We got ourselves a clean sweep, boys and girls. I'll take Hangman and Sonata. Champion against champion. I'll take it. Works for me. So that's round number 1. We got ourselves a Sonic sweep. Can we get 2? Can we double up? Have we ever done that before? Have we ever had back-to-back Sonic sweeps? I don't know. We got to pick stipulations, though. This is where it gets dicey sometimes. We have a hair match. Okay. It's going to be a hair match with the... it's going to have to be a hair match with the ladies. Because a hair match for a tag team match, it doesn't really work. I mean, I guess it could work. I guess it could work. Actually, wasn't that what it was at the first Worlds Collide? When Worlds Collide with Eddie Guerrero and Art Barr? Wasn't the stipulation that they had to have their hair cut or their head shaved? Well, we'll do it with the women anyway. Uh-oh. The TBS champion, the undefeated, the CEO, Mercedes Moné, may be bald by the time this match is over. She's putting her hair on the line. We may have a bald CEO by the time this is over. Choose... There she is again. Look at this. We technically picked her twice. Choose 4 women and book a tag team. I just avoided doing a tag team match because the oh, God. We have to pick a different stipulation. We have to pick a different stipulation now. We're going to book a women's tag team match. We need a different stipulation. So the hair match is erased. I literally started with a women's match to avoid booking a tag team match, and it tells me I have to book a tag team match. We're picking a different step. Oh, this... You wanted Umaga. Who wanted Umaga and be the booker? There he is. There's Umaga. There he is right there. Strap match. That doesn't work, though, for a tag match. How are we going to do a tag team strap match? Pick a different stipulation. Be the Booker is working against me here. Oh, my God. Oh, no. Anarchy in the arena. Which is rather appropriate this week of all weeks. We have to book a women's Anarchy in the arena match. 5-on-5. I don't believe this. I'm not picking another stipulation, so we're sticking to this. We are booking our first ever women's Anarchy in the arena match. I hope you're ready for this. We need to book 10 women in this match. My God. All right, team number 1. I'm not even going to remember all the names. I'm relying on you guys to remember everybody I'm booking here. Xia Li. I think Xia Li just won her first MMA match, actually. MMA fight. All right. So we're starting over here. Xia Li. Zarya. Interesting. Mia Yim. So we have Xia Li, Mia Yim, and Zarya. I'm not liking this team so far. I got to be honest with you. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, my God. Oh. So the Anarchy in the arena match has been erased. We wash it away. We land on triple threat. We are now booking a triple threat match. We're going to be here all fucking night trying to book this match. This is fucking ridiculous. All right, we're booking a triple threat match. We'll be here all night doing this. Yes, the women are washed away. The women, they're down the river. That's it. They're gone. We're starting over. Triple threat women's match. This has to be the last of the stipulations for the women. We have Dark Alexa Bliss. It's going to be in this triple threat match. We have Jazz. We have Alexa and Jazz. And completing the triple threat match. Fuck you, okay? Seriously, I swear to fucking God, I'm done. Done. I'm done with the women's match. We're moving on. That's it. Pick a stipulation, and that's it. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Table match. Very good. Motherfucker. We're doing a table match. Tag team table match. Enough of this shit. Had enough of this. Tag team table match. We have Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Red Dragon. And who will they be facing? Red Dragon against the Kings of Wrestling, actually, in a tag team table match. All right. All right. I can live with that. I can live with that. That works. And now our main event. Loser leaves town match. Okay, so the loser of this match has to leave the territory. That's it. They're done. They're finished. Somebody's got to go. Who will the combatants be? Roderick Strong in his neck brace in a loser leaves town match. Against Chad Gable. Loser leaves town, Chad Gable and Roderick Strong. Could be a hell of a wrestling match. Now, should I go back and attempt to book a women's match? I'm going to give them one more shot. I'm going to give the ladies one more shot here. Oh my God. Full Metal Mayhem. How many women am I supposed to book in this Full Metal Mayhem? How many people are typically in Full Metal Mayhem? Can you just do 2? We'll book 2. 2 women. 2 women. Charlotte Flair is going to be part of Full Metal Mayhem. And her opponent will be, I swear, if I land on a stipulation. Oh, thank God. Charlotte Flair and Lita in a Full Metal Mayhem match. That's a double sonic sweep. If we ignore the catastrophe of before and wash it away, back-to-back sweeps. I don't want to see another women's match until next week. That's it. I'm done. Done. Chris Manson. Jericho has been removed from the All In ad. As an AEW sicko, I just have to say, welcome back to the big leagues. I wouldn't read too much into that. Jericho, is he still on tour? I thought the tour was over by now. The Fozzy tour. Paul Carpenter, do you watch WrestleBio's Reliving the War? If not, you are missing out. He goes through the war of WCW against WWE. P.S. NXT is king. Brother, I lived through the war of WCW against WWE. I don't need to watch somebody else telling me about it. I'm sure he does fine work, but I lived through it. And have talked about it extensively over the years on my own show. Tyrus. What state has the smallest soft drinks? Minnesota. Ah, I see. Havili. What is the possibility of a mini reunion of the original Damage Control against PFC if Dakota, Shayna, and Sonya weren't released at WrestleMania 41? of doing that match at WrestleMania 41? I mean, I don't think that ever would have been a WrestleMania match. Ever. So the chances of it happening were 0. That's my answer. Power Spying Game says, now the women left town. I'm about to leave town after that last round of Be the Booker. In Power Spying Games, Lita saved Be the Booker, a reason why she is my favorite. She did save it. I've never been that worked up in Be the Booker before. I was about to just crash out. I was this close. That's why you never know what you're going to get in Be the Booker. I'm going to have to shake things up here. I have to add more stipulations. That's what I'm going to have to do. Anyway, you guys killed it tonight. I thank you for that. Lots of great questions, and messages, and super chat support. This was more fun than watching SmackDown tonight. It's the way it should be. Next time I'm live on YouTube is going to be Monday night. That'll be after Monday Night Raw. Of course, on Sunday, we have episode 915 of The Sound Off coming out, covering all the news of the week. Dark Side of the Ring review for the Daphne episode. That will not be one to miss. But next week, we got live on Monday. Of course, Tuesday night, as always, over on JD's channel for Tuesday Night Titans. Episode 98 is coming up next week. We have a Dynamite review. We got SmackDown. Got a lot of stuff coming up. And a House of Glory show coming up as well. Same day as Money in the Bank, June 7th. So I will not be here for that. But I'll keep you guys updated and remind you about that next week. Show some love to our sponsor. Tonight's show. Show some love for our sponsor for the night, Power Spying Games. Your message screwed me up here. It came in at the exact moment I was going to hit something. Power Spying Games, if there was ever a time for the Wyatt Six, he says, in Be the Booker. The Wyatt Six is... Oh, you're right. That's what he's referring to, yes. That's a good point. Had we landed on the Wyatt Six, we would have been massacred, and that would have been the end of Be the Booker. Forgot about that. You are correct. Anyway, show some love. MyBookie.ag. Use the code Solomonster. Take advantage of that deal. Go check it out. They'll have some, if they're not up now, they should have some WWE lines up, probably heading into Money in the Bank. But there's any other number of things on there as well to look into beyond wrestling. So be sure to show them some love and check that out. Be well. Stay safe. I'll be back with you for more Sound Off here live on YouTube next week. Hit that like button on your way out. Thank you for all the love, and have yourselves a great weekend. Until then, I will see you for the Sound Off on Sunday. Take care, guys.